Oh, hey, peoples. We are back. Yeah, we got some volume now. Okay.
Straighten it out too.
Which way we going now?
I don't know.
I was saying about that right
Now, do me a favor.
Huh?
Tilt it this way, son. And bring the top down a little. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Hey, everybody.
That's
Can you hear us now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Dots.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me
Dots are
now?
friends.
I ain't gonna do too much. Excuse me, y'all.
Man, so what's up, folks?
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I won't sit there. Well, we all want to apologize for the technical difficulty. What's going on? We don't know if it's solar flares or the Illuminati or
It's the Illuminati.
COINTELPRO don't want us to speak our piece. We don't know, but how y'all do?
So I got a question. So now, if the phone is connected to the same computer that we live streaming from, how that's gonna work?
It's not connected to it right now.
Oh, okay. You can do it to yours.
Yeah.
Cool.
Or you can try the phone again.
Okay.
Yeah. Since we done kind of reset everything, we're gonna see what it do.
We were having so many technical difficulties this evening.
Yeah, man.
And we haven't done nothing
Today.
different, so it ain't got to do with nothing we did.
No.
Exactly.
No.
We just appreciate y'all coming back to us.
For real.
Thank y'all so much.
We gonna have some conversation.
Tonight.
Google Voice still can't place the call.
Oh.
Hey, did anybody catch that Mayweather exhibition fight thing? I didn't see it.
Yeah, we watched it last night, man.
He actually, like
it was lackluster to me, but it didn't look like they was really trying to beat each other up. All of the animosity and anger and all of that you saw before the fight, you didn't see none of that last night.
That was the rah-rah. Mm.
And your boy, what's his name? Paul.
Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm. After the fight was over, he even said, "I hate being an asshole."
Mm-hmm.
So that let you know it was all smoke, dog. It was fake. It was all fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
they actually, what I'm saying, they was together on giving the people a good show. And that was pretty much about it right there. You know what I'm saying?
Was it a good show? Was it worth money or was it better off to put your fire stick and watching it for free?
It was worth it because I say it was worth it because they went the whole 8 rounds.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? That's why I say it.
But see, I say it was worth it because they didn't go the whole 8 rounds. I wanted to see that nigga get knocked out.
They didn't go there.
I wanted to see Logan Paul get knocked out.
You want
just
to
because of
all that extra bullshit.
I said if it didn't go the whole 8,
if it didn't go,
would have been better because that means he would have got knocked out.
Right.
That's what would have been good to me.
Yeah.
But
Mayweather
the important thing is nobody got hurt regardless of a knockout or not. Nobody got seriously hurt, so that was good. And it was it's always good to be with your homies watching, watching the fights or watching the games or whatever. So that was always good, but the fight was lackluster, man. It was lackluster.
Now he did throw a few of them.
Oh yeah, they hit each other a few times, but it wasn't what the hype was about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it didn't live up to the hype at all. Not to me anyway. What you thought, Ron?
it was all right.
Really?
Yeah, that's it.
So like I said, I didn't get to see the fight. So did it have its moments, its hype moments, or was it just a normal Mayweather fight?
It had some hype moments. They had the people out there see.
Did?
Yeah, they did.
Was they real people or digital people that they use in the
No,
battle?
it was real. It was real. It looked like
Yeah,
it looked
see,
like a normal
because it
fight.
wasn't even sold out. You
It
see a
looked
whole lot of gaps in the audience and everything. It wasn't sold out.
Now I ain't saying the whole stadium or the whole.
Yeah, but it was folks in there like this no one.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't like the whole stadium was standing up and nothing like that. It was just mostly.
They caught each other a couple of times.
And the ring looks smaller too.
Yeah,
The
it's
ring-
like exhibition size. I mean, 'cause that's the same size when they was fighting with it looked like the same size when
Roy Jones and Tyson.
Tyson and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey man, but hey, when you reminisce on that fight with Roy Jones and Tyson, man, goddamn,
That
You
fight to me,
yeah,
it stood up to the hype
yeah,
because and people kept saying, oh, it's an exhibition, you know, and nobody really won. Man, please, Tyson won that fight.
Right.
Mhm.
Tyson won that fight.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Hey, at the end when you seen them talking at the end when they was talking with the commentator or whatnot, man, Roy kept on holding his side like he might.
Yeah. And Tyson looked like he was ready to go again.
yeah. Roy was
Yeah, what's up, baby?
like somebody hit his ribs or something, man. Like, yeah, he looked like he was hurting, bro. Like,
Yeah.
he was trying, like he was talking, he's trying to, stand there with all his manhood, but you see him like
Tyson smiling.
Right. Right.
Looking like
Hey, we can do it again.
all that right there, like, yeah, man.
and he the oldest.
Yeah. Roy looked clearly out of
He
shape,
did,
though.
dog. He looked clearly out of
I
shape.
mean,
And Tyson looked good, man. That boy almost looked like he did back in the day.
mhm.
What y'all think about that huge size discrepancy during that fight? Like
That's the only thing I was worried about. Because I mean, I know that Logan Paul can't beat Mayweather in a boxing match, but you can catch anybody.
You sure can.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the only thing I was worried about because I was like, that would be so messed up if you
Yeah.
just catch him because he's so much bigger than he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he got reach.
But and he caught him a couple times, but
Yeah,
he wasn't
yeah.
good enough to do nothing. He ain't even really stagger him.
Mhm.
He hit him and he kept going. You know what I'm saying?
See, that's the part I like. Mayweather kept walking into him. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah. He was showing him. I guess he wasn't
Yeah.
scared of his size or whatever.
I wasn't scared of his punches.
Yeah,
That's why he said, I'm gonna walk into your shit like I'm walking into a cold front.
yeah.
For real.
But it was one series of punches that I liked though. Mayweather, he Logan swung at him and he ducked and it came like right in front of him, and then he came right back and caught him, bam. And then Logan kind of like dropped his shit, and then he hit him with a left, bam, caught him again. I was like, that was nice.
And then Logan laid his weight on him.
Yeah, he kept laying his weight
Kinda
on
tired,
him.
man.
Yeah.
He was getting tired.
Mhm.
He kept saying, he was like, man, I got to give it up to him. He surprised me because he's a much better fighter. This is Mayweather talking. He
Yeah.
said he's a much better fighter than I thought he was. You know what I'm saying? He said he did surprise me. He say he's better than I thought he was. That's good. Then they asked him. They said, well, he's saying that he wants to take it seriously. So what do you think? And then Mayweather, he was honest. He was like, well, if he tries to fight
Heavyweight.
heavyweight, he gonna have some problems.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
said, but he can, keep going and you get better and all of that type of stuff.
His brother show was on the sideline acting hooked up.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I'm
the
saying?
one.
That's
See,
who needs to
really,
be in there.
that's the one that I really want Mayweather to fight, and I want him to knock him out because he's really the one with all the shenanigans.
Oh,
It was really that
right.
Mhm.
to be honest.
Is he the one started that
Yeah,
stuff?
because he the one that snatched his hat off.
Snatched the hat off and all
Yeah,
that kind of
and
stuff.
then
Okay.
Stupid went and got a tattoo of the same hat on his leg, and it said, "I got your hat," and he put it on IG. while he was getting- I was like, dog, this nigga got to be by 17, dog.
That's what he want to do.
Yeah.
That's his trolling.
That's truly some childish shit
Yeah,
right there.
dog.
Yeah, that's a little too much.
It's all entertainment. You know what I'm
Pretty
saying?
much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's all entertainment at
Pretty
the end of the day.
yeah.
They just trying to get paid now, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure. Roy made,
So-
not Roy, but Floyd made 100 million and Logan
I
made
thought it was
20.
200.
200?
I don't know for sure. I thought I heard
Shit.
somebody say
Who
last
made
night
200?
200 million. Whatever it was over a million.
The brother,
No, Mayweather
Mayweather.
made over $1 million.
Made over 100 million.
Over
Oh,
100
okay.
million.
Over 100 million. Yeah.
I thought it was 200.
100 million.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
made over
Logan
100
walked
million.
away with 20.
Yeah.
20 million.
Uh-huh.
Man, that got to be the biggest okie doke, man. The boys, hey, Mayweather finesse, hey, they finesse, hey, the Mayweather team, the money team, they finessing it. They
Now you see that
I mean,
the reason
them
why
guaranteed contracts, though. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter what you do, win or lose, you getting paid. I'm going there for that.
that's why Mayweather
I'm going there for that.
They even
Easy.
said Mayweather didn't put nothing but like 50% into the fight.
Oh, really?
They said that like when they first started, right after the fight,
Yeah.
they say Mayweather was just at 50%.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
I believe it.
because you can tell he didn't put his all.
Yeah,
into
you
it.
could because
Right.
you
Who he
should have
fighting,
beat
you know what I
that
mean?
boy.
Yeah.
Man. You should have
Yeah.
beat him.
Yeah.
He didn't even look like he was trying to.
But it was a good fight. You know what I'm saying? It was
It was
a good
entertaining.
show.
It was slightly entertaining.
Bro, if
I'll
nobody
put it
was
like that for me.
swole, if there was no blood, nobody swole, and
Oh, Logan's face was swollen.
Yeah, it was kind of
It was a little swollen.
you little swole.
Yeah.
How Mayweather look?
Good.
Like Mayweather always look out those fights.
Mayweather beard still looked like this, but after. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to catch up and watch this shit. I guess I'll download it from a torrent or something like that.
Yeah.
Don't roast me.
Right on.
Leah, I ate your food, man.
We got a special guest in the house tonight.
Special guest in the house.
You said so.
Thank you for joining us. So, brothers, it's good to see both of y'all back with us, man. We all
I know,
back
right?
together. We all
Yeah,
back
man.
together.
Yeah.
We all
Four
back
horsemen.
together. Yeah, man. It's been a minute.
Man, I'm truly blessed, man, to be back, man. Through the things, I done seen, the things I done went through, you know what I'm saying, being over the road and stuff like that. Not nothing all hard or nothing like that, but you can't take it for granted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of dangers out there. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff that can, but we're gonna keep it like that because I'm still on parole.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
But I
what's
just
up.
seen a lot, I done heard a lot, and I'm back to do a lot.
That's what's up.
Oh, really?
That's what's up. Oslo, how's the music coming along, man?
Oh man, it's just grooving it too. You know what I'm saying? Just staying consistent on creating and manifesting. It's all in the day. You know what I'm saying?
That's what's up.
By the way, man, congratulations on your music. Man.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate it.
Congratulations on that.
Appreciate that.
I heard a lot of good things about you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
music. It's good music. For real.
Appreciate it, man. Shoot, Lord say the same. We're gonna be on the road, bringing this to your town. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's what's up.
We need y'all to subscribe, so we know we got some subscribers,
Yes.
and then we know we got some people that's gonna pay for some tickets, and then guess what? We're gonna give you a visit. Yeah,
There you go.
And y'all don't hesitate to call in. The number is 281
858
3107.
Good.
Yeah. I just got a headset on that
That's the baby smoke
281.
chorus.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, give us a phone call if y'all have
Absolutely.
something on your mind. We're gonna hit y'all with a topic today. We're gonna hit you with a few topics, but we're gonna talk about some sci-fi shit, some Star
Right.
Trek, some go where no man has gone before type shit. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you a middle finger too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we're gonna talk about if there's really such thing as aliens and UFOs or not. You know what I'm
Been a
saying?
lot
Well,
of
there's
news about
definitely UFOs.
It's been a lot about them in the news.
Oh,
Doesn't
well,
mean that they're alien though.
Yeah, well,
Right.
yeah. See, and that's a hell of a topic right there. You know,
Yeah.
are they aliens? All right. Now we have to keep in mind if you grew up here in America, we've had people to tell us our God was white.
Hold on.
They didn't say
Oh, you
Our
just
God.
go. You said God. Here you go. Here you go.
You say God is what?
they told us our God is white. They told us Jesus is white.
No, he ain't.
God is
Okay. So before I go to with that, right? You have to keep in mind the people that has conditioned us has given us a whole bunch of information, and they withheld a lot of information as well.
Yeah.
To the point that some of our people, when we look at the statues that happens to be on the mother continent, some of our people don't even recognize that's them. You know, the noses have been knocked off the statues, so you can't relate, or you know, you just it's just everything has just been manipulated to a certain point. And
Right.
I believe, just me personally, when it comes to reality of a situation, they telling us things that is unidentified, but it's unidentified by way of them telling us. We don't really know if this shit has been here before us or not. When it comes to UFOs, you know, it could it be from another planet, or could it be some withheld information that's been here, like the Tulsa bombings. Now we're hearing about the Tulsa bombings. That information was withheld for so long. And the thing that happened in Tulsa wasn't the only place. They want to talk about it right now. There was other cities. Same shit happened to.
Tulsa got bombed by aliens.
Tulsa
Tulsa got bombed by aliens.
My hand like
What?
I'm a kid in the classroom.
What?
Man, hey,
Did Tulsa just get bombed by aliens?
No, that's not what he said, my bro.
Hey, but check this out. Check this out. You have to be just not
Try to get understanding.
just not trying to look further than your TV in front of you while you sitting on your couch. If you think that we the only beings in this universe, man, the universe is too outrageously big, first of all, for nothing else not to be big. You see what I'm saying? I mean, you have to just use your common sense and just be like, man, look, it got to be more than just grade. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I agree with you.
It got to be more than just.
I agree with you because I hold those same sentiments to a certain degree, right? But I did have a conversation. Me and Ron and one of our other friends had a conversation a while back, and we had this conversation several times. But we talked about that, and Ron is a person who, at the time, did not believe, and he may
Still don't.
that there is no other life other than
Ain't
life
nothing
on
out there.
Earth, right?
Come here, Ron.
So,
Ain't nothing
Ron,
out
come
there.
here.
but
Ain't
Bend your
nothing out
forehead this way.
Ain't nothing out there.
But
What part?
listen to his reasons.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he's an intelligent brother, so he has valid reasons. I
Right.
still don't believe it. Because I still believe that there is life outside of our planet. But he has some good
Right.
reasons though.
But then another thing too, before y'all say something, certain people try to, the people who reversed everything, misled us, all that type of stuff, right? Okay, just way back ancient times. You know what I'm saying? It's like, unidentified objects or beings or whatever. Basically,
let me say this too. Hey, listen, everybody, we got I'm seeing 12 people in there. Y'all hit that like button, man. It's
Absolutely.
Real, it's free to do, and it only take a second. Just hit that like button for us. We got 12 people in there. We should have 12 likes, man.
Absolutely.
So even if y'all lying, y'all still watching, so you must like something.
Absolutely. So I even like myself too. I
See,
said.
when I said it, we got 13
there we
people
go.
there now. So y'all,
Yeah.
see, we got 2 likes already. Come on. We got 11 more people,
Yeah.
man. Hit that like button. Make sure y'all do share too, man.
What's
If you
good?
haven't, subscribe, and we appreciate y'all.
Right,
6 likes. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Look at that. Look at
That's
that.
what up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
you ain't even
Go
asking
ahead,
for
man.
money.
I wish
Appreciate y'all.
I wish we thought of the 5 mic thing first before what you call it.
That's all right. We can steal it a little bit.
Was it Star Search? Was it Star Search?
No.
Hey, what's going on?
mics.
Nothing in the
Star
alley
Search
but
was
your kin
5
folks
stars.
now.
Oh, it was 5 stars.
5 mics was the
Nothing in the
magazine.
alley on.
Oh, what's up, nothing in the alley? What's the deal, sis?
Yeah,
So
but
what you were
anyway,
saying, yeah.
like we were saying, you know, a lot of stuff been tampered with back in the ancient times and stuff like that. The times when there were only angels starting to communicate with the, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying the early times
Yeah.
when, you know, people was here didn't know what to do, didn't know where they came from. You know, them
My
times.
aliens?
No, I'm talking about people.
Okay.
Yeah. So it supposedly, now I don't know factually if it's, you know what I'm saying, but you know, the angels would communicate with beings here on earth. Was the way that, you know what I'm saying, the hieroglyphics and all that kind of stuff came about. Supposedly. Okay? Don't quote me on this.
You
But,
said the aliens communicated with
Not the aliens.
Angels. Angels.
So you're saying
So-
when the
so-
aliens talk to the humans, that's how the hieroglyphics came?
That's how languages and stuff was evolved.
What you laughing at?
Oh,
Johnson got bombed by
You know what I'm
aliens.
saying? Don't quote me on it though. I could be
No,
wrong.
I'm just trying to make
But-
sure.
but-
Yeah.
You know, it was something that I read about. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was something that I read about, and this is supposedly how it all started. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Languages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Before the other people came along and was against these you know, so-called angels and started calling them UFOs. You see what I'm saying? That's probably where the definition, I mean, where the abbreviation UFO probably came from. Because they don't want to acknowledge, you already know, certain type of people don't like to acknowledge
I hear what you're saying, but I think
the
you
spiritual
may
aspect of which we can.
I think you may be transferring the word. I mean, getting the word UFO and the word alien mixed up because
No, I'm saying unidentified.
right. But you're saying that
Not
that's where the
alien.
tank. Oh, that's not okay.
No,
so you
no.
specifically
I'm
meant to say
specifically saying unidentified objects.
okay.
Or you know, yeah.
Okay. So just so we'll be on
The
the
word
same page.
alien had to be came from, you know, people who you know, was against
Yeah.
everything that was going on. Also,
But the only reason I brought that up is because the unidentified flying objects doesn't mean alien.
oh well,
It
yeah,
just
you're
means,
right. You're right on that.
means
Yeah.
it's an unidentified object. They don't know what it is and it's
Yeah.
flying.
Okay, so
Yeah.
basically, I'm just like saying anything that's unidentified to those who don't believe.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or those who want to reject, you know, the truth, and which was, you know, in those ancient times. You know what I'm saying? I didn't mean to say UFO. I
Yeah.
meant to say just unidentified anything.
Yeah. Okay. And that's why I was saying maybe you meant alien
Yeah.
instead. Okay.
That was my bad. That was my mistake.
So
What y'all think?
yeah, what you
Yeah.
think about it?
What you think about? Yeah, what y'all think about the subject?
As far as if you're going to go the alien, you have to specify what an alien is. Any organism that's outside this planet,
That's the
they
question.
consider- That's an alien.
Mm.
That's the question.
Now, as far as UFOs, that's just unidentified. We don't know what the hell it is. You're like, what the hell is thinking?
Negro, we didn't already covered that. Answer the question.
But I think out I can even say the .000% that it might be like, yeah, I kind of do believe, but I'm not thinking like, you know, bipedal and like like us.
Right.
But as
I
far
agree
as
with
an
that.
organism.
I agree with that. 100%.
But by the time we find it, woo, and then the vastness of the universe.
Yeah, we got a caller. We got a caller.
We got a caller.
Uh-oh.
Is that nothing?
Hey, caller, how you doing there?
Fine, and you?
Doing good, doing good. We get
Hey, tell Mama again to turn her TV down and not respond to anything.
I got my teeth. A problem. Can you hear me now? See, I can't hear myself. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna state my point, and then because I can't hear myself. Okay, here's the deal. I'm confused on what you guys are talking about because extraterrestrial, what is it?
Extraterrestrial.
Object, a unidentified object, an alien. All of those things are attributable to. They say that if they see a UFO, they literally believe that that's an alien that has invaded our atmosphere. Okay, now they some has been proven, some has not, because you do know Hangar 10, or Hangar 12, where they were supposedly have captured that alien, and they had them on this military base, and they were up for observation. I do believe that there are aliens out there. We may be the only quote unquote humans as we know humans to be, but there are other living beings that we're sharing this atmosphere with. Now,
Right.
I don't understand. I needed you guys to verify or to justify why you do not believe that, or you do believe that we're the only living creatures out there. I don't get that. Now, what they look like? Do they look like us? I mean, there has been proven cases where people have had encounters with and actually entered into these spaceships. I know it sounds foreign. I know it sounds unbelievable. But I mean, that's why I just believe it. I'm a believer. I just believe it. I believe it's possible. I believe that it's happening. And I believe, just like they didn't believe in the atomic bomb until it hit, you know. So I don't know what it's going to take for people to believe that aliens really do exist,
I know it's going to take.
that they exist. So I can't hear you guys, so I'm gonna hang up because I don't know if I'm even being heard now.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we hear
we hear you loud and
So
clear.
thank you. Bye.
All right, love you. I agree with the latter part of what you were saying. The beginning part, you were saying something about aliens and it's been proven people have been in spaceships and stuff like that. I've heard of those encounters and everything. I don't believe or disbelieve that. I just leave that to whatever it is because I can't. There's nothing I've seen that proves that to me. I've seen more things that disprove those type of situations. Like, for instance, you had Dr. Malachi York back in the days. He used to have people travel down to his university, and they could literally see aliens like in these glass cases and stuff. But it was fake. It was fake. It was fake. I mean, when you see it, if you got any common sense, you look at it and you can tell it's fake. It looks like an alien off of some movie, you know, and it wasn't real.
They make those.
And I'm not sure if everybody know who Dr. Malachi York is, but he has some pretty far-fetched ideas. Intelligent brother though, but he has some pretty far-fetched ideas. And you know, that's one of those situations where people were like, you know, well, we saw the alien. They have an alien in a display case and all of this. I mean, let's really think about it. If you have first of all, how did Dr. York acquire an alien body, right? And is able to put it in a display case for the world to see, first of all. And now he's in jail for all types of other crap. You know what I mean? I mean, let's
He in jail now?
He was. I don't know if he's still in jail now, but he was in jail.
Did they go get the bodies?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Exactly. My
I mean, he in
whole point.
jail, right?
Right. Right.
Oh, okay.
And if you have, I'm sorry, but if
Mhm.
you have the ability to get in touch with aliens, but police was able to come put you in jail, then them some sorry aliens. I'm sorry.
They had no laser weapons,
None of that.
no claws, nothing.
They
Boy.
couldn't have transported you from here to there.
Yeah,
They couldn't
welfare.
have none of that.
We got the aliens on welfare.
Now, I am being funny. I mean what I'm
Broke
saying
down.
right now, but I do believe that there are other life forms.
What do you think about this, Leah? What's up?
I just want you guys to think about a few words. If we're gonna say aliens and extraterrestrial or UFO, then let me throw a few other words out here.
All right.
Nephilim,
Right?
Yeah.
fallen angels,
Mhm.
Mhm.
demons, um, deception.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You wanna talk about people like, oh, what is the word I'm looking for? I just lost my word. Where we're trying to custom, like the earth is round, the
Mhm.
earth is flat.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
In the Bible, it says this. Other people's versions, it says something different.
Mhm.
You have to choose what you want to believe. You have to choose what's true.
Mhm.
Just like we were talking about earlier, not believing stuff you don't see.
Right.
So if you're going to think about aliens and the universe is a lot bigger, that's great. That's fine. But also think about Nephilim, fallen angels, demons.
Mhm.
If
Right.
we've been being deceived before we were ever even conceived.
Right.
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 Adam and Eve.
Mhm.
If you really want to go all the way back, apes.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's a story in itself.
That's a
That's
whole
a story.
title.
That's
That's
a
a whole
whole
title
title.
for a
Right.
lot of
Sorry.
stuff.
That's
We
a
were
whole
deceived
story right there.
before we were conceived.
Right there.
I love it.
That's real.
Yes.
That's real.
That is really a true
Yeah,
title.
that's
right
true
there.
though.
Absolutely. We're gonna use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But thank you, Leah, because that was along the lines that I was talking about earlier, about things that beings and stuff like that was actually doing things to get us started. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And then you had the ones that was against good, because you have good and evil.
Right.
Right. So
We're gonna hand the hand.
Anybody else got any ideas? Call into the number. We'd love to hear from you. 281-858-3107. Call in and talk
and
to
for our
us.
Spanish listeners, 281-858-3107.
And you lost that thing.
Siete.
I
Boy.
was gonna let him hang.
Boy.
I was gonna let him hang.
Well, I want to see who
Who
else
speaks
speaks.
Spanish? I believe that is now.
No. It ain't that deep. It's good Spanish.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, is that the only reason why I know Spanish?
You goddamn right.
Absolutely.
Oh, I
Hey,
actually
we have a
knew
caller.
Spanish
Caller.
before
Caller.
We got a call. What's up?
Caller.
Hey,
Hey,
I
hold
actually
on.
knew Spanish
Hold on,
before.
hold on.
We got a
Hold
call.
on. We got a
Oh,
call.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, it's me again. Look, you guys are getting things confused. By Greg, what
Yes.
you're talking about when the fallen angels, when Satan was kicked out of heaven on the earth, and you're talking about when a third of the angels came down with him. Okay, but we're talking about out of space. These angels were kicked and came down to earth. Okay, so they you're absolutely right about that, but we're not talking about the fallen angels that came here. We're talking about the beings that have been created outside of this atmosphere, outside this hemisphere. We're talking about maybe from another planet or another constellation or something that's out there.
Yeah, I know, Mom.
You see,
But I
so
was
you
just
can't
speaking in
compare
general.
those to the fallen angels that got kicked out of heaven.
No, I wasn't really even speaking on that story. I was just speaking in general, the type of beings and the type of life that we have just within the universe, period.
You know what I thought that him and Leah was kind of.
Oh, okay. I
Touching
thought
on-
you were trying to.
Oh, sorry.
No, I know about that story, man, but that's not what I was trying to.
I thought what Beast and Leah were
Oh,
kind
I
of
thought he
touching
was trying
on
to say that.
was maybe the fact that, you know, sometimes when people talk about the stories and they call them aliens, that they may have been, instead of aliens, they may have been angels and Nephilims or demons. And they just attributed the word alien to them, and it could have been that. That's what I thought that y'all was saying.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
We having feedback still.
Well, that's Mom's.
Oh, well, that's a new
yeah,
perspective. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I've never heard that the angels or the demons that were kicked out or that came to earth were considered aliens. I mean, you know.
Well, they probably could have been given
Yeah,
that
because if
term.
we go to a foreign country, we're considered aliens. Anything that's unknown
Right.
That's
and
what, and that's
that's foreign to somebody or to something,
Exactly.
they're gonna call it alien.
Right.
exactly.
So let's use the word
Okay, I'm gonna hang
extraterrestrial.
up because I need
Yeah.
Easter somebody else to call in.
But thank you for
Okay,
calling in.
Yeah, let's use the word extraterrestrial from now on. We're talking
Instead of
about
aliens.
beings that are not originally from Earth.
This computer is extraterrestrial.
So one of our, we have a couple of viewers in their comments. Some of the comments from some of the viewers are, for example, let's see here, says, are y'all discussing the Anunnaki?
You know what I'm saying? It gets
Are we
deep.
discussing the Anunnaki?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you.
So those of you all that are familiar with the Anunnaki,
Yeah.
what exactly are they saying?
What are the Anunnaki saying?
Yes, what is the theory of the Anunnaki?
I don't know what the theory is, but I know
I got a whole bunch of
You know about the Anunnaki?
No.
I actually found
Yeah,
out about the Anunnaki.
that went over my head right there.
I actually found out about the Anunnaki by reading Dr. York's stuff back in the day, because he talked about a lot of different alien races, and the Anunnaki was one of the main races that was supposed to
Matter
help
of fact,
create humans.
Okay.
I'm gonna run and go get this
Okay.
paperwork
Really?
for my brothers
Yeah.
to see this.
And the Anunnaki, when you think the Anunnaki,
talking about some real shit.
it's the Anunnaki and the Greys.
Yeah. See,
And
that's where the
Got
alien
it?
shit
You
comes
got
from.
it?
yeah, it's the Anunnaki, the Greys, and another one. There was another one that he used to talk about a lot, man. But he spoke on all of the alien races that you even see in movies.
Mhm.
And what he used to say is that those thoughts were implanted into those people's minds, and that's why they wrote those stories.
Mhm.
And that's why you got all of those different aliens in the movies like Star Wars. Even I remember when he used to have these things.
Yoda supposedly was fashioned after a demon.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Fashion after what?
A demon.
She said Yoda
Oh,
was,
okay.
was
Yoda
Like-
from Star Wars.
Star Wars.
But just,
Yeah,
but in terms
like
of,
like gargoyle type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly it was I can't remember who it was, saw this demon
yeah.
and he
Well, that'll be
had
Lucas.
thrown it out or drew it out
Mhm.
and that's,
That's
if
where
you look
Yoda.
at it, it looks just like Yoda. I
Right.
used to be a big Yoda fan, had Yoda everywhere
I love Yoda too.
and I couldn't sleep,
Yeah.
just
Gotcha.
saying.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
we got another viewer that said, or we talking, well, she didn't say it, she just talking about the Inky.
Yeah,
E-N-K-I.
Yeah.
You ever heard of that? The
I've
Inky?
heard of
The
those
Inky?
too. I've heard of those too. Yeah.
You heard of the Inky?
Mhm.
And do you not?
Mhm.
That's in,
Oh, what's up,
that's in the
man?
Bible right there.
Yeah, we were discussing
Yeah,
all of
Enoch
that,
is-
man.
It's supposed to be like a book in the Bible,
Yeah.
So,
but it's not
Papa,
there.
if you got any, if you have any knowledge about it, man, call in and talk to us and share it with us, man. Because I see Papa 1472008. He was saying, "Are y'all discussing the Anunnaki?" If you have any information about it, man, call in and let us know.
Yeah, tell us,
really
come
good.
spread that.
Yeah.
Because
Because it's been a while since I've read about that stuff, man.
so we have another viewer that says some paleontologists think the animal-headed gods of Egyptian mythology were depictions of the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
Could be.
So you guys seem pretty knowledgeable on this.
Yeah,
Why don't you guys give us a call and explain it to us in greater detail?
that's good, man.
Please call in.
That even encourages me to know that this many people is knowledgeable about that type of
Absolutely.
stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because it's
Some people are tired of being asleep.
Right on.
right.
And I'm running over here, so keep
Right on.
going. Keep
And
going.
you know,
And
when you look at like a lot of Egyptian culture, when you look at the a lot of their hieroglyphs
Mm-hmm.
on in some of those hieroglyphs, they actually show things that look like flying saucers.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
people say that they got a lot of their knowledge and technology and all of that from
And that's their
aliens.
communication. I was
Now,
talking
I don't
about.
know how true that is, but when you see those hieroglyphs, it had to come from somewhere. And back then,
And they did.
there weren't flying machines back then. You know what I'm saying? And for them to depict something like that on the wall,
Mhm.
and it's shaped like that, it didn't look like any type of bird or anything like
Right.
that. So, you know, it was cement. I mean, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It was
Like diamond shape.
the shapes were very sharp
Mhm.
Right.
and linear.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So it had to be something man-made, or not necessarily man-made, but
Yeah.
it wasn't organic.
There you go.
I guess that's the best thing I'm trying to say. It
You
wasn't
think, man,
Where
organic,
is nothing new under the sun?
right?
Yeah.
It's all
So-
been done before.
So you being a person that doesn't believe in aliens, but you do, and you have a lot of knowledge about Egyptian history, right?
Mhm.
And you also went there. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So
yeah. Uh-huh.
So how do you feel about that? How do you, being a person that doesn't believe in aliens, how do you think that came about, those hieroglyphs?
To be honest with you, I've looked at those reliefs, and the assumption that I came to was maybe they're depicting, you know, their beliefs. Maybe they believe in extraterrestrial life or what have you, and that's their right. Maybe they're just depicting their belief. And in terms of, are they referencing extraterrestrial life? Well, that's the question that I think people that look at history and they study the Anunnaki, they study these things, we start reinterpreting. Instead of angels, maybe it was aliens, you know? And I think a lot of people really don't understand the background of that thinking. So just if you all don't mind, just briefly, I'd like to explain to you that if you notice in history, the older text, I would say within the last 2,000 years roughly, whenever people gave commentary on things like the Bible, we took angels to be literally, you know, wings, you know,
Right.
coming down, robes, that kind of stuff. Okay, all right, and talking with us. But as man got smarter and more technically advanced, we started relying less on the image of an angel. And it started then coming along terms of aliens, so to speak, in terms of how we're interpreting certain things. And so now in the current state of affairs is this: there's an argument to say maybe angels never were, they were always aliens. And some people saying no, angels have their distinct reality, aliens have their distinct reality. So that's where we are in terms of the discussion itself. So when you hear people say, well, they're using angel and alien interchangeably, they're already operating from that basis or that understood. So I just want to orient our audience while they're hearing so many different perspectives that may be foreign to them.
Right.
Because I guarantee a lot of us have not heard Anunnaki.
Right.
You know,
That's
a lot of us
absolutely
don't understand, are not aware that the Bible is being reinterpreted. You know, the ancient Mesopotamian writings are being reinterpreted. You know, promoting a different reality.
right.
So that's basically what I want to just explain.
And there's a lot of books of the Bible
Mhm.
that's not there, that
Sure.
was there back then,
Sure.
before there was a Bible.
Okay.
There was writings, you know what I'm saying, about Leah was just saying a minute ago about Enoch.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Which sounds so familiar when you talking about Anna. Ananite.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? It's like the Bible. The Bible, of course, it had a lot of stuff just disregarded, you know what I'm saying, or not even looked at.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Or kept from us, put it like that.
But in terms of there being extraterrestrial life or aliens, like how do you explain to me what proof you have that there are aliens, that they possibly exist, other than, like, he asked me, what do I make of the relief? I return the question back. What information, or rather, what tangible evidence do we have regarding aliens? And I have seen just as much information that has proven that there are aliens as much as I've seen proven they're angels.
Right.
Right.
There are people that believe in angels. That is a real reality. I'm not saying yes or no. They believe in that.
Yeah.
What do you believe?
Me, personally, I believe in angels, but not aliens.
Why? Like, what
Because
makes you believe in aliens?
Because angels come.
Well, let me finish my
Okay.
question. If you believe in you said that you've seen just as much information that supports both of them,
Mhm.
the existence of both of them,
Yes.
which is virtually not much at all, right?
I haven't seen anything.
Absolutely nothing, right? So what makes you believe more in alien? Well,
Angel.
let me say this.
Okay.
What makes you think that if you believe that there are angels, why can't there be aliens? If you have to have faith to believe in an angel, and you have seen no proof that one has ever existed.
Correct.
And the same goes for an alien.
All right.
Why is it so hard for you to believe in an alien?
Because it's always in the details. Here's why. Angels are an inherent part of my faith system.
Right.
If I remove angels, my faith, religious faith, starts
to
breaking
fall
down a little bit in certain things.
Right.
So I came, in terms of the system of belief that I have, that's a part of it. That's inextricable. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking about aliens, that has nothing to do with my faith. So I can look at that very objectively.
Yeah.
I do not deny aliens on the basis of my belief in angels.
Mhm.
I deny aliens because I haven't seen anything to prove its existence. I don't argue my faith because by definition, my faith is a belief system. So if angels comes along with that, I'm not trying to defend that. I'm not trying to promote it, what have you. I'm telling you, that's just an inherent belief in a belief system. So we can turn our eye towards extraterrestrials and say, okay, we have no evidence of it, but a whole lot of people believe it for whatever their reasons.
Right.
My only question is, in terms of instrumentation, science, or what have you, and mapping the known universe, if you believe in aliens, what is your logic?
Yeah.
And what is your system of proof? What body of information do you stand on to support your position? Because we obviously don't have anything to actually prove it.
Right. We don't have it, and we don't have it because for the simple fact that that's the part that the people that's against us using the rest of the 70% of our brain, you see what I'm saying,
Mhm.
would connect to that if they was to leave it out for the universe to study about it and stuff like that. You remember? Okay, let me put it like this. You ever heard them call the Bible the book of life?
Okay.
Anything that's life was in that book. It's supposed to be in that book. I'm sorry, but it wasn't put in there, or it was just kept You see what I'm saying? Top secret, as they say these days, right? There's nothing new under the sun. All these things exist.
My thing is this, Greg, on the code. Like, I'm not going to say that aliens don't exist because it wasn't in the Bible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Dinosaurs aren't in the Bible.
Because they
But
might say
let's not
aliens.
talk
they
about
have
dinosaurs.
tangible- but we have
they're
tangible
We have
proof.
tangible evidence they're
Right.
here. So we know they were here. You understand?
But
So-
see, that might be the aliens that people are really trying to talk to. That's really pertaining to. You see what
No,
I'm
it
saying?
could
No,
be. It could
no.
be that.
No,
Could
no.
be that because
Dinosaur bones or dinosaur bones.
But we're not talking about things that was always here on Earth. We're talking
Do
about
you
things
have-
throughout the whole universe.
Do you have anything from the universe is right there?
Right.
Do you have anything from the universe that can prove to me
That can prove
that they're aliens?
I cannot. You know
Why
why?
do you believe in
For
it?
the simple fact that I was born in 1972, and I can't possibly go back that far.
But why do you believe in aliens?
but you can
Well-
ask that same
well, you know-
question about God and
I have no problem with
angels,
that
though.
because that falls under the jurisdiction of religion. And
By the
faith.
way, I believe in God and I believe in aliens.
because what we're talking about is
Just remember the book of life.
we're not talking about faith in terms of like a belief system, like something like a religion. We're not talking religion.
Yeah, it's
We're
not
just-
at all religious.
You know what I'm saying? We're not talking that. We're
Yeah.
talking damn near science, if you will. You know,
It's science,
and philosophy. or what have you.
astrology.
All I'm saying is, if we believe in something that tangible, just where is the evidence? And when I look at most people's reasoning behind why they believe in the universe,
Why they believe in aliens?
I'm sorry, believe in aliens. They refer to things that are usually scientific or mathematical in nature. Usually,
Yeah.
they say things like the universe is too big. They say if you look at the number of planets that's out there,
Right.
surely there's something somewhere else.
Mhm.
My question is, why does it have to be something else out there?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I don't
All right.
believe in aliens.
Let me ask you a question. And I'm not trying to convince you.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
So you do believe in string theory,
Yes,
right?
to a degree, yes.
To a
They still
degree,
have
right?
problems
Because
with it. Yeah.
String-
nobody truly understands it completely.
Yeah. String
But string theory
String theory.
basically supports the fact that there are multiple universes,
Okay.
right? So if there are multiple universes, then we are existing in other universes right now at the same time.
That's theory.
The theory, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So if that's happening, then that right there, if it's real, would also prove that we're not the only beings.
Exactly.
That's why it's theory.
Right. But you are more apt to believe that than you are aliens, right?
Yes. But
Why?
that doesn't necessarily mean that there have to be extraterrestrials. They're saying
No. I know that. I'm only basing it on the fact that you said you said that you think that this is the only planet that has life in all of existence.
yes,
Period.
yes,
But you believe in string theory to a point,
yes.
as do I. But string theory supports the fact that there are multiple dimensions.
Correct.
And if there are multiple dimensions, then there are multiple Earths. And there are multiple humans, multiple people on all of those multiple Earths. So that would make it not reasonable to say that this is the only planet with life.
So when we talk
Am
about,
I making sense?
you're making
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Okay.
But what you have to understand is when you're talking quantum and string theory, with quantum mechanics, string
Right.
theory, and all of that, you're not looking so much at different entities as much as you're looking at different views in different times and space.
Right.
It's not set. So you could have a multiplicative universe. Many
So
universes,
you're looking
but
at
you're
it
looking
as-
at options. You're looking at different alternatives.
So
But it's still linear.
So when you see the
The theory.
the different planets in the different dimensions, you're looking at it time based. Is that what you? like it's us, but in this dimension.
That's how they
this
promote
is-
it. That's
This
how
is
that's how
still
it's
us,
promoted.
but it's us either before or after
That's
what
how
we're doing right now.
That's how they promote
And
it.
not necessarily
Absolutely.
like it's another run, but you may have dreads in this universe.
Something like that. You made a left instead of a right.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because that's how quantum mechanics and string theory promote the multiplicative universe.
So you could
But
be
see,
a
that,
Viking in another universe.
but when they now this is a question. Now this I'm
It's
literally
interesting,
asking
man.
this because one thing that I was reading about when it comes to string theory, they were saying what made them believe that
Mhm.
is because
I like
with
that.
our three-dimensional reality, right?
Right.
The string with string theory, it's way beyond just three dimensions.
Right.
Okay, so damn, don't let me lose my thought. When they were trying to actually see what made them think that there are different dimensions
Mhm.
was because when they broke it down as much as they could
Mhm.
to those basic elements,
Mhm.
they would see two elements in the same space at the same time,
Sure.
right? But it didn't mean that was the exact same element,
Right.
but it was two of those types of elements in the same position at the same time. Didn't mean it was that same element a second later or
Right.
a second earlier,
Right.
but existing exactly at the same time, two of the same element.
You know why?
That's what I'm asking.
Because the universe is doing this.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is my hand. You don't understand? That makes sense?
It makes,
Because the question, what
it
he's
makes
trying,
sense.
what is
I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah.
You're about to lose me,
Okay.
but I kind of get what you're saying. I'm very simplistic. Has string theory been proven?
No, it's not. It's not
No.
proven.
no.
But
We're still in
it hasn't
theory
been
of theory of
proven.
the theory.
But because of quantum mechanics and stuff and
Right.
string theory and all of that, this is how we're able to have cell phones and computers because of quantum mechanics.
Which I don't
So it hasn't
understand
been
either, so we're
proven,
good.
but it's been proven enough to be able to use what they do understand
Gotcha.
about it.
And even if whatever it is that exists in a different universe, if you will, we could never make contact with them,
Right.
ever. We would never intersect,
Right.
ever. But in terms of this universe we know, this piece of dirt called Earth, anything beyond it, I haven't seen any little green men with antennas and little circle ships going anywhere. I haven't seen any information
But
to
you
prove.
also haven't seen big white men with wings and halos.
I agree.
Mhm.
I agree.
They don't all have to
I-
be white.
I-
Well, you know,
That's how they keep
and
the
I
angels
didn't
going.
mean white as in race, but whenever you see an angel, they're white. They're in white.
Yeah, that's
So
see,
you
that's
are
not
angel.
even that's not even race.
You know you're an angel.
So, but here's the deal. See, here's the difference. See, we have to make sure our terms are understood and clear. The difference between science and alien extraterrestrial technology and all of that, that all falls under science. The difference between science and what I believe in terms of my religion, which is faith, I do not have to put my faith under the same standards to be tested, to be proven
Right.
true, as I do science.
Right,
So we cannot keep jumping back and forth. You
right.
understand? Like
See, like
that's
the
why
words you just said, those are sort of like you know how you put a stamp on something. You know what I'm saying? You say this is this.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But what if we just say it's like?
I don't understand, Greg.
I
Like
understand
I don't-
that.
you see what I'm saying?
Because
If we
that
just-
was what I was about to say.
Because we put a signature on every fucking thing just like everybody else did in the past.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? We just prone to do that. But what if we just took all titles and stamps and all this kind of stuff that we put on different things and just look at it for what it is?
That's the
You see what I'm
point. That's the point. That's exactly where I'm making the
Okay.
demarcation.
Okay.
That's exactly where I'm making the demarcation.
Okay.
Because I'm not trying to, I promise y'all, I'm not trying to be funny, but you have to understand how we come to know things.
Mhm.
That's very important. And there's a part of humankind where we believe things.
Right.
There's another way of thinking where we know things. Usually the things that we know, and we're talking empirically, the things we know, we put under science because you have to look a certain way. You have to understand or think a certain way in order to prove something to be true. Okay?
As a scientist.
As a science.
Mhm.
When you talk about religion, you don't have to prove it. We're not talking about holding your conviction, evangelizing and all that, and that's your own personal truth.
Right.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about religion in and of itself is a belief system. Unfortunately, when you start talking about extraterrestrial life, you're in the alien section of the story. I'm sorry, the scientific section of the story. Because that's how we understand the universe around us, through tried and true scientific measures. We measure the heat of things, the velocity of things, how much it weighs, how much, what kind of matter is it, those kind of things. So when you start talking about extraterrestrial life, then that's what you're dealing with, that kind of thinking. We apply that same thinking towards archaeology. Some people believe in evolution, some people don't. We hold it now as a science because we put it to the test of science. Otherwise, you could almost make the argument, those right there, those are aliens. They just buried them. You understand? But you know why we know they're not aliens? Because science studied it, broke it down, classified it, and said, that's what this is.
Mhm.
That's our world reality. So if you're going to take that same thinking and say, okay, there has to be aliens or extraterrestrial life, I'm asking, where is the proof?
Right.
That's all I'm saying. I'm open to, I would like to think there would be extraterrestrial life, but usually when we start thinking like that, we are being very narcissistic as a species. I think we are projecting out into the universe what is here. That's why most people, when they think about aliens,
Yeah.
they think more of a human form.
But Bobby addressed that earlier
We are the center.
because he said,
Uh-huh.
but see, to me, that's the arrogance.
That's bias.
To me, that's
You
the
see what I'm saying?
arrogance. You know what I'm saying? That's the
saying
arrogance.
that we the descendants.
Why do we have to be the center of everything?
Yeah.
That's all we know. 'Cause
What gives us the right
That's
to
all
think
we
that?
know. So
that-
when we watch cartoons, when we watch movies about aliens, they all want to come here for some reason to take things from here or take over this planet and all of that, right? To me, that's where the arrogance comes in.
This is all we
Because they think we're the center of this big, huge ass, ever expanding universe. And to me,
I think it's
mathematically, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Why do you need a ship?
Why do we need to-
Okay.
Whenever we say we look at these photos and these pictures and everything of UFOs and aliens and everything, we're associating with aliens, or we look at these old, like the Mesopotamian reliefs where you say, okay, that's surely an alien ship right there, floating in the background. Why aliens need ships?
But
Why
see,
they gotta be regulated to how we get around?
But see, let me tell you,
Ain't no aliens.
let me tell you, scientists code.
They could be operating
Let me
on
tell
a
you-
different frequency.
But see, that doesn't disprove aliens just because what people see as unidentified flying objects that are supposed to be extraterrestrial. Just because if there's an alien out there, right, and we see a UFO flying around, right,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that all of the aliens out there need some type of vessel to travel, because they may not even be flesh. They may not even be something tangible, because you got to think about it. Like, as humans, right? All of our thoughts and instructions in our body is carried through electricity, right?
Right,
Carries those messages, right?
right.
When we die, that electricity goes somewhere. That energy goes somewhere because energy is never created or destroyed, right? It only changes form.
Uh-huh.
So why can't there be other alien life forms that work on that same principle, but they don't need a body because they're beyond that at this point? Or maybe they started like that, and they never had to have a physical body like this.
That's good science fiction.
I mean, but the Bible is good science fiction too,
It's religion.
Yeah.
but it's
no,
still
no,
science fiction
That's religion.
because it's
It's a
not
belief system.
proven.
No,
It's a belief system.
It's a belief system, but it's not proven,
no, not exactly.
and it's not tangible.
The
And again,
okay,
I believe in God.
let's take out the word Bible
I'm just saying, you gotta
Let's take
think
out the word
different. You gotta
for a second.
you gotta be, if you're gonna think one way, you gotta
But-
it gotta go across the board.
But look at how even the way that you're saying, well, why can't it be we are energy and they're made out of? Notice how you're still having to use you as a frame of reference
Right, but,
in terms of describing something extraterrestrial.
right, but
There's a possibility.
but the answer to that is because we don't know anything else. I don't have words to describe anything else, so I have to use what I know to describe it. But because that's the only way I can describe it, does not disprove the existence of an alien life form.
Which makes it sound like we're talking in circles.
Not really.
Not really.
Not really. Not really. Oh,
Yes.
Because look,
Projection.
Astral projection.
So think about it. If, looking at both sides, if a human being can astral project, but I can't astral project, for me to get to Chicago, I gotta get on a plane,
Right.
Mhm.
an alien. Just saying, if we're gonna look at it from both sides,
yeah,
maybe they can astral project, maybe some of them need ships.
Whether we say astral projection, whether they need ships, even how
See what-
I
see, you have to go
understand.
back. You have to go back, and you have to realize something. Okay, there's a higher power, and that higher power made each person with or without a gift. With this certain situation for their life, certain situation for your life, certain situation for your life. Include my life, Iso's life, Leah's life, Bobby's life. You see what I'm saying? We don't all do the same thing.
Greg, part of it,
You see what I'm saying?
Greg, here's the problem. Regardless of if we look at the subjective level of what's for Oslo, what's for me, what's for Leah, what's for Devin, Greg, yourself, Greg, Bobby, yourself. The good thing about science, regardless who engages it, regardless who does the experiment, if it's real, it can be repeated by multiple other individuals and you're going to get the same result.
Mhm.
If we're going to have a scientific mind approaching the existence of aliens, we have to abide by those laws if we're going to prove it.
Mhm. What's the definition of science?
Science, well, something that
The
is
study of.
it's the attempt to prove a hypothesis, basically. So you may have a hypothesis that there are aliens. Okay, the first thing science is going to say is prove it. If I say I believe in angels, science is not going to ask me to prove it,
Right.
and because it understands that it can't get there because that's within a belief system.
Okay.
But all of the information present to prove if there are aliens has resulted more of a belief system rather than anything showing by its existence by a codified set of rules by science. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So like
You just
science.
said
Science
everything
is
that
If aliens are there,
you said it comes from a belief system.
it comes from a science. It comes from a system of a codified system of things where you have to test, to prove its existence. The belief system, you don't. But science has a belief component to it. You
isn't
understand?
science the study of
Well, why-
life for the majority of it?
Huh?
Isn't science the study of life?
So, in terms of how we understand life,
Mhm.
according to science,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing right now in the space program. They're going into different, solar systems, different galaxies or whatever, and they're looking for the microscopic evidence of any form of life according to how science defines it.
Right.
Okay.
And it always
Guys,
starts
so-
from that.
So do you believe?
You see what I'm saying?
So you do believe some of this information that they kicking back to the public?
Like what?
The government right now, how they talking about all of this alien stuff.
Nah, you know, it's hard to believe what they go ahead.
Oh, they said they had one of those probes or satellites or whatnot to go past Pluto, right? And said
Voyager, yeah.
yeah, the Voyager 2 or 1, maybe it might have been 2 or something. All right. And it said that Voyager is coming across a fire ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm talking about this
I already know what you're about to say.
basic observation
Yeah.
once again. And if we let science dictate the science that they taught us, it could be inaccurate. But if we let the science dictate shit, okay, you can't have no fire without air.
Okay. Now, I remember somebody
And they
had
say
a
they ran
conversation
across
about
it.
that before, right?
Right,
And when I was listening to the conversation, it played in my head a few days later.
Right.
I forgot why. But the sun burns,
right.
and that's in the outer space.
Well, no,
For what they tell us, whatever space is, how I feel like whatever they tell us, what space is, how they've been
What you're
showing it,
saying makes perfect sense, though.
that's not what space is. It's something else. It might be a little bit with that, but space is something else. All right, because once again, you have to have some type of oxygen, some
you ever heard
air.
of nuclear fission?
Right. In order
That's
to
what's
have
happening.
life.
That's what's happening on the inside of those stars.
You have
That's what's
ever
happening
heard
inside
of
the
nuclear
sun.
fission? When certain atoms are compressed to a point, and then they're burning off not just oxygen, they're burning off helium, hydrogen,
There's a lot of iron in the sun.
and iron. This creating a core. But when
So you don't need the air.
It's internal.
This is nuclear fission.
Yeah.
This is
And you don't need
fission.
Like imagine like a billion trillion nuclear bombs going off every single second.
And then
Can you imagine a
And then
nuclear bomb
compressed into a
going
ball.
off without air?
Yeah, it's called the sun.
You
Yes.
know, that's what they say. Let a damn bomb go off without the elements that we have in this atmosphere. Is it gonna blow?
This is a different thing. You can't. The
I'm just-
plasma has this.
we're
I'm
talking
sorry, the
about
sun is
fission.
plasma.
We're talking about fission.
We know. Has anybody been to the sun and came back?
No, nobody.
Okay,
Maybe
can a motherfucker prove that? That's what I'm saying. Like you can't prove that's what the sun is, bro. Whatever the fuck. I know you have to have some type of oxygen to have fire burning, bro.
Have you
You
heard
know,
of big
period.
boy and small boy?
Period.
It's splitting atoms.
Going back into just the
You know,
atomic
Earth,
bomb.
yeah.
It sounds like that sounds like it could be
You
a
don't have to have
scientific
oxygen.
explanation for it. However,
Energy
has
being
anybody
released.
went to the sun and came back to
So-
find out?
So you don't believe in aliens then?
Man, what I'm saying is
If you don't believe,
no. What I'm saying is the information of what these people have programmed us with, I'm not one to buy in to 95% of it.
And you're not.
There's a whole bunch of
You
truth
ain't
out
supposed
there.
to buy it.
There's a whole bunch of truth out there. But what's been given to us to program us to shape our minds, no, I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying? How's a motherfucker gonna sit there and say you gotta, all right, here go another one, right? Mars, right? And we talked about this off air, but fuck it, we're gonna talk about it. I said it before, but we'll talk about it on air. They showed a drone fly on Mars, right?
Mhm.
Mars has no air.
but it has an atmosphere,
Atmosphere of what?
different chemicals, mostly carbon dioxide. It's mostly like
Yeah.
about 90-something% carbon dioxide.
Thin air.
No, it's absence of the
There's
oxygen molecule.
there's no air for the drones to fly drone and shit. It has to have some type of air going in it, bro.
They have an atmosphere.
An atmosphere of
I
what?
just told you.
That's
carbon
what I'm
dioxide.
saying is the carbon monoxide one thing, air one thing. What I'm saying is scientifically the shit sound like yeah it could make sense. What I'm saying is I don't buy into the hype. Just like how they showed the American flag on the moon, the motherfucking flag moving. There's air in space, like right? Space supposed to be a vacuum, right? Like the motherfucking flag ain't supposed to be moving in space, right? All I'm saying is, bro, it's just bunch of shit don't add up. You know what I'm saying? If you really
To
just
a
sit there and
certain
think about it,
to a certain extent, the government do make up a lot of bullshit.
Man, these people
You know what I'm
control
saying?
how we
I
view
gotta-
shit, and the way we view shit is
Yeah.
what have us ignorant and
Yeah,
lost from
they-
the ways of our true past, and
Right.
And whatever, how
trying to
our
control
tribes and our
mind
people,
all kind of stuff.
correlated with the stars or whatever. They got us all off note, bro. Then a motherfucker, like, yo, like I say, man.
Which was always they go since ancient times. You know what I'm saying? It was always something that had to be kept from us
Somebody's trying to call in and
For
they
us
said
to
it's
not-
going to
for us to
voicemail.
not be so smart or not keep up with, you know what I'm saying? With the things that's reality. You see what I'm saying?
Caller. Make that. You can call us back. I'm sorry for missing that phone call. My computer was trying to save some energy for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and call back. Bob.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that is always they go to keep us from the truth, to keep us from reality. They want to keep us locked into this what you call a matrix.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So, you know,
Alright.
I can feel what Oslo was saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand where it's coming from.
What's up, caller? Oh, we lost him. Call back in, caller.
Oh, just calling back.
Hey,
Oh,
caller.
there.
Hello.
Somebody hear something?
We can hear something.
Y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You on there?
Hello, call.
Can
Yeah, so I wanted to chime in on that on that Anunnaki stuff.
Okay.
I can't hear y'all through the phone at all. It's like no feedback coming through the phone.
Well,
You can't hear us when
You
we're
can't
talking.
hear us at all?
No, I can only hear y'all. I got y'all on my TV, but I can't hear you through the phone at all.
Okay.
oh, okay. He probably
Uh-huh.
paying more attention to the delay than anybody.
Call, if you can hear us, just go ahead while we're working on this. Just go ahead and explain to us about the Anunnaki.
Okay, well, I'm not an expert at this, but you know, based on what I do know, man, you know, these Anunnaki, you know, apparently they found out about these Anunnaki through
Can you hear us now?
Sumerian texts, and you know the Sumerians, supposedly they were like the first organized civilization in history or whatever, and I guess back in Mesopotamia.
right,
And
right.
so apparently, you know, they're credited for having like the first system of writing and all of that. Again, I don't know if that's true. I'm just basing that on what I've read. You know, it might not be correct or not. But anyway, so like back in the 1800s in Iraq, they found these tablets with the story of the Anunnaki that was written, that was described in these tablets. And basically it was saying how the Anunnaki came from this planet called, is it Nibiru?
Nibiru.
Yeah, a planet called Nibiru. It was like at the end of the solar system or whatever.
NIB.
And apparently, you know, this planet it orbits near the Earth like every 3,000 years or so. And, you know, so apparently like these Anunnaki, they were in search of gold because like the climate and the atmosphere on Nibiru was deteriorating. And so they started flying all around, you know, trying to visit these different planets to find gold, and that's how they came to planet Earth. And we had gold apparently. And so, you know, they were saying that they brought over like slave aliens to help mine this gold for these Anunnaki. And eventually the slaves, they got tired of getting their ass kicked, and they, you know, they turned on the Anunnaki, started fighting them, and the Anunnaki decimated them.
And the Anunnaki was like, well, we need to figure out how to create some kind of human that is, you know, that is a little bit more submissive, I guess. And apparently they use like, you know, some ancestors of humans, or like I said, I'm not an expert on it. I'm just going by the basics of what I know about this stuff. And you know, they decimate. So anyway, they created these. They combined their DNA with these ancestors of humans, and then that's how they got the giants of the Nephilim and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw like the giants in Game of Thrones. Apparently those were like Nephilim giants,
Right.
or Goliath. He may have been one of the giants of Nephilim. Who knows? But yeah. So apparently, you know, the what was that? The Nephilim. They were, I don't know, they were kind of like, they were subhuman. I don't know how I can explain it, but they weren't really, it was like a bad experiment. And eventually they got, you know, the breeding process down and created these human beings that we see today, basically.
Right.
And allegedly the Anunnaki taught them architecture, math, and writing, and things like that. But again, my knowledge on this is limited. So I mean, that's all I wanted to add in there. That's pretty much all I got, man. Like I said,
Man, we so appreciate
Thank you for that explanation.
Hey, I appreciate that.
So I just kind of let y'all chew on that.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
And by the way, for those who didn't know, man, that's my cousin, man, that's called in. I appreciate it. Very knowledgeable, man. Very knowledgeable dude, man, on a lot of things, man. I wish he would have called him when we was talking about the boxing match, man, because he's really been in the boxing for a minute. He actually used to do like some commentating on it and stuff on the boxing match. Yeah, he was really, yeah, I mean like he was really doing it. So yeah, but yeah, man, that's some of the same stuff that Dr. York was talking about. Those same things.
So when you also look at when they talk about the Anunnaki, at least the ancient the Sumerians, you have someone named Zechariah Sitchin.
Right.
Zechariah Sitchin wrote extensively about that subject also. And the first thing that Zechariah Sitchin attacks when he talks about the Anunnaki and the a lot of what the ancient Sumerian text was saying, he was saying, we translated that all wrong.
Oh yeah.
You know, but so now we go back to, you're looking at early man writing about their mythology of how it all started. It's an origin story. It's a genesis, if you will. So the question becomes, do you take that as science, or do you take that as some type of belief system? Because it is archaeological evidence, you know, or it's there. You understand? So that's the question. So if we're going to take that to be proof, you know, solid proof that there's extraterrestrial life, then how do we know we're just not going along with their mythology?
Well, let me ask you this. This goes back.
That's all I'm asking.
This goes back to the Egyptian stuff, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so when you were saying that your explanation for the UFOs that they put on the walls and the hieroglyphs and stuff, you said that it was possibly them just saying what they were hoping for, or what they believed in but didn't actually see, or something to that effect, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what I was going to say is, when you look at the whole of those Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? Are they generally based on truth of what was actually going on at that time, or were they generally based on something that hadn't been done yet?
I say yes on that.
From what I've read, and I haven't went extensive into the actual hieroglyphs themselves, but from the things that I have read, those hieroglyphs were literally paintings of what was actually
Recordings.
happening at those times.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
recorded, it was things that.
So
was
do you understand my
recorded.
I
question?
understand your question, and I like to, if we're going to discuss Egyptian hieroglyphics, let's make sure we understand something. The Egyptians were highly technologically advanced people.
Right.
Mhm.
They built the pyramid to perfection. They mastered it.
So much so that they
They,
can't.
they can't reproduce it now. And they practiced dentistry. They used Archimedes' screw in terms of like, it was proven because of the Egyptian technology during the era of Archimedes that if you did a certain thing, like you could build like a electrical device if you harness the water properly.
Yeah.
Electrolysis. Okay, all right. They also did embalming technique 7,000 years ago.
Heart
I'm sorry,
surgery.
heart surgery. So these were scientists. Make no mistake about it. They were excellent meteorologists. They charted the stars. That's why they figured out that, and I promise I'm going somewhere with this. They lined up the pyramids at Giza along Orion's belt so that they could use the pyramids as their form of weather prediction, like an almanac, like a farmer's almanac. So they could look and predict where the Nile would be in so many years because of the way that the Earth was lining up with some of the stars in some of the constellations.
Yeah.
These were highly intelligent people. But then when you ask them and you look at how did they learn all of this, they believe in Amun-Ra and some other gods that got into a tiny boat and went across the sky to where the world ends, okay?
Right.
They also believe like in the afterlife, okay? So what you're looking at when you look at the Egyptians, you're looking at a marriage of faith and science. They were a scientific people, but if you look at their pyramids and you look at their inscriptions and everything, no one came above Pharaoh.
Right.
Pharaoh was God on earth.
Right.
And when you look at the interpretations of the hieroglyphs, they're really more or less giving more adulation to Pharaoh or to whatever gods they believe in the afterlife, okay? When you see them doing certain things in hieroglyphs, it's not necessarily to be taken at face value as in this actually happened, because I can also show you where they believe that when you die, you stand in front of the what is it called? The scale, and they put your heart on one side of the scale. That determines whether you go to heaven or hell. You understand? That is associated and tied in inextricably if you read the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which talks about how to embalm bodies when they pass on. So I don't necessarily have to believe that there is an alien or that's a depiction of an alien or anything like that when I'm looking at the hieroglyphs, because in terms of how they've looked at the hieroglyphs now, they say, yeah, that's a possibility, but it's no more of a possibility than Osiris and Isis and those guys existing. You understand? It's a part of their mythology. They just married their mythology and their scientific method a whole lot better. But they're not trying to say that that's not to say that that is an actual fact. You have to hold their artwork or their hieroglyphs. You have to hold it in a certain context. That's all I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. Yes, knowing the scales exactly. So that's why when we talk about aliens, you have to have very critical thinking skills, as if you were talking to a person that is a atheist. How they're very rational, logical, because you're talking about a physical reality. You're trying to promote a physical reality. If you're going to promote a physical reality, you have to have evidence. Otherwise, you'll just believe. The question really becomes, why believe in the angel? Why believe in the angel when you can believe in the alien? If you want to make that a part of a belief system, I'm done. I could care less whether it exists or not, because that's part of a belief system. But if you're trying to hold it to have some kind of external reality or place of truth in the universe, you have to show me evidence.
I hear what you're saying, man.
And not
But
interpretation.
I still don't the thing that I still don't understand is how you can say that about aliens, but because aliens are not a belief system and religion is, how does that, like, to me, it sounds like you're going, well, that's just what I believe. So fuck everything else. That's what it sounds like to me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because you're saying, well, the reason I believe in not aliens, but angels
Okay.
is because it's part of my belief system.
Okay.
Right.
Programming, conditioning.
Absolutely.
Right. So if that's part of that, and the only reason you know that is because of what you've read, somebody has written in books, right?
Say that again.
The only reason you believe in that religion is because of the book that you've read.
That was the starting point.
The start, right, that's what I mean.
Yes.
And when I say you,
Yes.
I mean
As a whole.
right,
As a whole, yes.
So when you believe in that religion, you believe in that religion based on what you've read in the Bible. If you believe in Islam, you believe in Islam based on what you've read in the Quran, so forth and so on, right?
Okay.
But nothing in none of those books have been tangibly proven either.
And not
Correct?
correct. And that has never ever been the objective.
Right.
Never been the objective.
Okay, and I got it.
Okay.
I understand
Okay.
that. And the difference is with an alien, the objective is to prove that it does exist,
Absolutely.
right? But if you talk to the average believer, they're going to tell you, no, God does exist. Angels do exist. Demons do exist. Hell and heaven does exist.
Okay.
But we have absolutely no proof of it anywhere
Okay.
other than people saying, I died and came back, and this is what I've experienced, right? And then you still have those other people who say, I was abducted
Okay.
and I'm back. It's the same exact thing to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's the same exact thing. It's just, it seems like you just choose to believe that because it's your religion and your faith, like you said. But I don't understand how you use that as a basis to disprove this when they are both standing on the exact same legs.
Okay. Am
I making sense?
You're making perfect sense. You're making perfect sense because
And I want to understand.
Absolutely. All right. So here we go. If we didn't talk about aliens in terms of a external truth, okay, I would have no problem with saying, okay, well, I believe aliens, I don't believe aliens, or you believe them, that's cool. Because at that point, it's a subjective, personal thing in terms of your belief system. When we talk about extraterrestrial life forms, we're talking about something that is not from Earth. Most of the point. Now, I wish Oslo could have spoken more about this. I think he was hinting at different types of life forms that may be, aliens or what have you. Okay, but anyway, in terms of myself, when we talk about aliens, we're talking about irrespective of your belief system. That when the Martian man lands here, that's confirming that there's something else physically here, organic, alive, other than us.
But Jesus and angels, same thing though.
I understand that, but they have a spiritual component to it. They exist. Jesus, the angels, they also exist in a different type of reality. When we say people are spiritual, you're believing in a spiritual reality. A spiritual reality is something that you can't see nor test. That's why it falls still under beliefs. Okay? When you're talking about aliens, you're now talking about real, tangible, external reality of there being another life form outside of ourselves in this same time and space. Oh,
So when you're speaking of how you believe,
Hello, caller, can you hear me?
don't forget.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. I got somebody that knows more about the Anunnaki, the Greys, the Inkies that's gonna be calling in just a second. It's a brother named Mintu Brentop that studied under Master Teacher.
Oh man, hey, I'd love to hear that dialogue right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come,
He
come,
studied under who? Master who?
come.
Someone that's very
come from the
knowledgeable
mouse,
of
very
Anunnaki.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I started reading on the Nike.
Okay, so only thing else I need to say is I love y'all. Peace.
Thank you for watching. Love you too.
All right.
Got a lot of people interested. It's 8:47 and it's 15 people still watching. Thank y'all so much.
Yeah,
Thank y'all so much.
Nike, bro. I stayed up like pretty late one night reading up on that. Now you're gonna have to give me one of them. Take one of them out, put one of them over there.
unplug the computer because it's full. It's gonna last a while. That's a new battery.
Yeah, I went into it. You know, it's coming back to me now. We're talking about it, man. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff they ain't told us, man.
That's their main goal, to keep us from
And the talk of some, man.
all this. Man.
Yeah, because
You know what I'm saying?
this is one thing I want to show y'all too. You know, all the pyramids, man, they was built like on real specific areas of the earth. They almost look like it's on a straight line.
Actually, it is on a slightly curved straight line. Not all of them, but there are a whole lot of.
They go right there.
There's a lot of what they call them, those sites where they have like
It's the ring of fire. Pyramids around the ring of fire.
See, they
But
between
it's
what?
it's not only the pyramids too.
Mm.
It's a line. It's a slightly curved line that goes around the planet also, and it's like the Easter Island and it's some other ones, and they all line up.
Those pyramids
Yeah.
are systematically put there for some type of power creation thing, bro. Because every pyramid is by they had some water, a body of water of some.
Well, yeah, that's how they were using electrolysis.
Yeah.
And they had electricity inside of the pyramids because of the running water hitting those like cogs and shit like that.
And then some of the shit that they built certain pyramids with, like it, depending on what was in it, there'd be a chemical reaction and stuff that caused power and shit as well.
I'm making batteries.
I got
Basic way to make
A big ass battery, and then the power wasn't controlled by power lines and shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they was using power differently, and all that information they keep that shit away from us.
They do.
So I went to Teotihuacan.
Or they
In the
just
Temple of
don't
the
know
Moon.
how they did it either.
I've been to two pyramids,
Right.
the Temple of the Moon and
That's
Temple
what
of
I
the
wanted
Sun.
to ask you.
In
those
Teotihuacan.
questions.
I've been to two.
Bad time.
And a lot of people try to say maybe aliens had something to do with building the pyramids in Teotihuacan. Some other people believe that aliens had something to do with building the pyramids in Egypt. And then some of that is based on the fact that they're all along that ring of fire, if you will, in that same area. This is the kind of context you have to hold things in. The reason you see the pyramids in those areas is because if you go date them around the globe, that's where early man thrived. That's just where we live. And we built pyramids where we damn live. And if you go to Teotihuacan, they'll tell you, and you read, and you translate the writing on the side of the wall of the pyramids, the Aztecs will tell you in their own writing. We have no idea how this shit got here. It was here when we showed up. Okay? If you look at the pyramids they did build, and they can account for in certain parts of Central America, they have steps because they were used as sacrifice. That's why the pyramids in Egypt are closed in, because they were tombs. If you go up and down the Nile, you'll see where early man was through trial and error trying to build the pyramid from Ethiopia to Sudan all the way up to Egypt. It was a trial and error. We don't need aliens for pyramids. All you have to do is go straight to the Nile, and you'll see man's thinking. If you get on a boat and go all the way up the Nile, you'll see some of the pyramids falling off. You'll see some of them getting a little bit better, and the closer you get to Giza, the better the pyramids got. You understand? So I'm not saying that I'm not trying to tell anyone what to believe. I'm just saying sometimes you have to have your basics covered before you make leaps in terms of like a belief system. You have to understand the fundamentals. That's all I'm saying regarding the pyramids. I hope that makes sense in relation to the subject.
I mean, I was never one of those people who really, banked on the aliens gave them all of the technology and everything.
I know, right?
I really wasn't but the only thing that made me think that possibly they did have some type of communication with them were those things that they would have in the hieroglyphs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only thing that had me with any connection to the Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Outside of that, I just think that they
I would say it was
very
more
intelligent people, man.
Yeah, I would say, and just about stand by this, that it was more of a spiritual thing than what we are actually saying that aliens communicated with the, you know what I'm saying? Those terms came from people who didn't want to call spirits or angels. You see what I'm saying? But we had to get our intelligence from somewhere. A lot of times when people, even today, people rely on the Spirit of God to lead and guide them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in the past. If we was to just, and then that's another thing that come to mind too. But we are connected spiritually to that higher power. So if it's something that's impossible, or something that somebody might see us do that they don't think they could ever do in life, it's because we had a spiritual connection. You see what I'm saying? Is the reason why it was probably done. You see what I'm saying? Where to the point where we can't understand how the hell it happened. You see what I'm saying? That goes on now today. You see what I'm saying? Because we can see something on the news and be like, how the hell? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing.
You got a call?
Oh, hello. Hey, I was returning a phone call. This is Eyes Low with the Daily Smoke. Did somebody just call? Hello? Hello? Yeah. Can you hear me? Caller, hello?
Caller, if you can't hear us through the phone, then just listen to the video, and whatever you're calling in to say, just go ahead and say it, and we'll stop talking so you can say what you need to say, and we'll respond and just listen to the video if you can't hear us through the phone.
I think a lot of people be going based off when they got us on the phone, they going based off the video.
Exactly.
They are, but the last caller said that he couldn't hear us at all through the phone.
Yeah.
Like that, because that's what Mom was doing, what you're talking about.
Right.
But we could hear her in the background echoing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I called the caller back. Call another caller back. Mr.
And thank y'all for sticking with us.
One.
Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We got Man, we got 15 people in here still, and we are going on 2 hours. We've been online for 2 hours.
Hour 40.
Hey, callers, for sorry for missing the phone calls. Please call back. We definitely want to hear your thoughts on our perspective.
Yeah, man, because this is something that we, you know, I mean, this is a really open conversation.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm sure that some people out there have so many. I wonder if that was the caller that nothing was saying was
She
about
was
to
saying
call
that's what I was
in.
thinking.
Yeah.
So
That's what I was
try
trying
to call them back. Try to
Yeah.
call them back.
Yeah, I did. I'm trying to call you.
Yeah, try to call them again and see if we can get a better connection. Or
Ain't
just
no
have
ET, y'all. Ain't no ET.
Hey, you know what you can do? Do this. Text Small World one of our numbers and tell the dude to call one of us, and we'll use our phone.
Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Hello.
Oh, you know what? He may be having the same.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Just tell me to call my phone, dude, one time.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Somebody just said
Yeah,
Yeah, but see, I think they can't hear us.
yeah.
Right.
So maybe it's the microphone on our computer.
Yeah, because it was acting up. That's why we had to switch computers. I'm thinking that might be what the issue is.
Oh, shit.
But it was working
It
for
was,
some
it
folks.
just, yeah, it was
Some
already
people.
working, so.
It's in and out.
Hey.
Hey, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, can you hear us? Hello?
About 4 seconds
Hello?
away.
Hello?
No.
Hello? Hello?
All right.
I have a brother that I was telling y'all about on the other line, but I can't hear y'all at all.
Okay, can you hear us through the TV?
She said she can. She should.
Hold on, try to bring him on the line and see if they clear up whatever's going on. He goofy, see it. How's that? Okay, mental. Okay,
Hello?
I got them on the phone with us, but I can't hear them.
Hello?
What's her name?
Alright.
I just sent her a text.
Well, I guess that means that the ancestors don't want us to say it or whatever.
Right. That's true.
Okay, well, if they ever have this talk again, I promise I'll make sure.
Whoa,
No. We want to talk to him.
No, we want
We
to talk
want
to
to
him.
talk to him.
But they can't hear.
That's what I'm saying. Just
Yeah,
call
yeah,
us.
yeah.
They can't hear us.
They can't hear something.
That's okay.
We're
I got it.
small.
I got it.
We're gonna call you right now.
What the fuck? I'm just gonna start this shit over.
Hold on, y'all. We're gonna be right with y'all. We're finna get a brother who really knows a lot about the Anunnakis and different things of that nature.
Small. Hello?
This
This is Ron. Is this Small Noon?
no, that wasn't number.
Okay, thank you. Damn, I thought that was her number. Oh, she
Maybe that
switched
was
up.
this number.
No. I got the wrong number. It's been a long day, man.
213-342 number.
It's about to put y'all on three-way. Hold on, I'm bringing him in.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
I got the brother's phone. We had to call from somebody else's phone. So I got Ron, I got Devin, and I don't
Oslo
remember
and
the
Beast.
brother's name.
Okay.
So we want you to explain to us, and you're live on air right now. We want you to explain to us the Anunnaki. We're going to give you the floor. I'm going to place the phone on mute, and you also are being broadcast right now, okay? All right. All yours.
Okay. Well, I mean, as far as I know, is the Anunnaki, their origins are from Mesopotamia, Sumeria, and they were beings that came down. Anunnaki it translated as those beings that Anu they came down from Anu, which is from above, in groups of 50 to Ki, which is what they referred to the earth as, Ki. So then one of them was Enki, which was ruler of Ki, which is ruler of earth. And he had Enlil, who was a ruler of the skies. So these were two brothers or two sons of Anu who, you know, basically dealt with the germination of the planet, you know, and creating the Adamite race or whatever on this planet. So they were beings that came from what it was called Risk, the planet Risk, from the galaxy Elyon. And these are recorded in records in Mesopotamia and Samaria. So I don't know if that's just a summation.
Okay, thank you for that, caller. We appreciate you, man. We one of the questions that we were raising was that are the Sumerian text proof of extraterrestrial life? That was the subject of tonight. And we just want to know if you could comment your thoughts on that.
Yes, based on that, it seems like most cultures all speak on beings, they say from up there, out there, you know, and from different planets. Some specify what galaxy, what planet, you know, what star constellation. With the Anunnaki, they say, you know, they are beings who came from another planet to this planet, to this plane. So, of course, according to the definition, anything extra to this terrestrial plane would be, you know, quote unquote extraterrestrial. So, based on the definition, that would make them extraterrestrial. You know, even angels coming from heaven to earth, the terrestrial plane, they would have to be classified as extraterrestrial.
Thank you.
But I think a lot of times people get maybe spooked out with the word extraterrestrial, make you think only green aliens and, you know, the bug-eyed grays or whatever.
Right.
But there's so many different classifications of extraterrestrials.
Which is what the
Hindus have those beings from Nirvana who came to Earth, which would make them extraterrestrial, according to the definition.
Right.
And based on the information that you've learned from the Sumerian text or any other information you may have come across, what is your position on your conviction, your individual conviction regarding extraterrestrial existence?
Well, with all the documentation, I personally would have to say that I accept that knowledge of, you know, there being extraterrestrial, advanced, higher life outside of this realm, coming to this realm. You know, as they say, cross-contaminating, cross-pollinating, different things like that. So my stance would be, I could see that as a truth and a reality, personally, yes.
And what is it about that? What is it about that truth or that reality that appeals to you? In terms of like what made you believe in that reality?
It explains certain things that we deal with on this realm. Like, you know, we say 1 minute we say we're all from the same. You know, like people say we're all God's children, and then they say we all bleed the same blood. But then when you look at blood scientifically, all blood is not the same. You know, there's differentiations and variations in blood. You have people who supposedly were born on this planet, but are actually allergic to darn near everything on the planet. So it's like, how do you originate here and be allergic to the things that are on this planet. So it's like it shows kind of coincides with their things just on that minute level, you know. A lot of people are looking for the ships and the crafts or whatever, but sometimes you just look at that, something as simple as the differences in DNA, the differences in allergic reactions, how people have certain allergic reactions to things that if they're from here, they shouldn't have that. There shouldn't be you shouldn't have allergies if you're from here. If you're made up of the elements that exist here, you know, then you shouldn't have an allergic reaction to what you're made up of. So on that level, those are certain things that you could see and look at.
Any of you guys have got any questions for him?
Yeah, I got one, man. I was talking to the brothers here, man, and like my point of view of this whole thing, when you go back to like what you was just breaking down about the Anunnaki, you know, this whole time we've been discussing it, all I can gather from it is like this one big spiritual aspect of it. You see what I'm saying? This is what I get from it, like a spiritual, like it's all coming from that one higher being.
Okay. So and that's where I think, like for me, just in the studies, like what happens is with us as people, the way we're taught to choose one. You know, like it's you got to choose one, and you either with the Anunnaki, or you with the Neteru, or you with the what is it, the what are the with the Hindus, with theirs, with the Nirvana, their name slipped my mind, but with the Bhagavad Gita, you know, or the Bible, or the Quran, or the Sumerian tablets. So it's like we're trying to choose which one is right, without even understanding that why can't all of them be right if we accept that there's billions of light years and of space out there with all these different planets, all these different galaxies, so many different things. So why can't it be that that oneness that we're talking about contains all of those? It contains the Nirvana, the beings from Nirvana. It contains the Riskians. It contains the Pleiadians, the Aldebarans. It contains all of these things, and everybody comes to tell their story to their people, their children, so per se. Right. So with that, that's why even in the Bible, how most people refer to the Bible when they say, God says, have no other gods besides me. So that should be clarification for people that this extraterrestrial or this being says, hey, I'm the one for you. You listen to me, you deal with me. But then we construe it and say, well, no, there is no other gods. It's only one God. That's not what he said. He said, have no other gods besides me. I am your God. So therefore, there are other gods, but I'm your God. And that's, I think, so once we can probably come to that conclusion that there are multiple extraterrestrials, gods, whatever the title we use, angels, then you just have to find out which one was meant for you, which one was sent for you. The Hindus have theirs, the Arabs have theirs, the Chinese have theirs. And that's the way I'm starting to see it more and more, that each individual, maybe race or species, has their beings that left them here, or maybe germinated or placed them here. So we just have to delve deeper in that. So it's not to cancel out. So in that, just to say, I don't cancel out what you're saying. I'm saying it shouldn't cancel out each other. It should be like yours is right. It is a spirituality of a oneness, yet within that oneness, there is still, I guess the way you say, variations of it, if that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That totally answered my question right there.
Okay.
Anybody got a question for me, anything?
I don't have a question, but I completely understand what he was just saying.
Mhm.
And I think that kind of goes along with my thinking, but what he explained was a lot broader than what my thinking is on the subject. What I say when I say I understand is because I look at that as how I think believing in God and science, they don't have to be at war with each other.
Exactly.
I don't think that science disproves God. I think science actually is showing us how God did the things that God did, how he created the things that he created, and just breaking it down scientifically, how it was actually done. That's the way I look at it. That's what I feel when, that's the type of thinking that I do. That's why I never sit there and say, when they explain how something is done, in the universe, how something came to be, the Big Bang Theory and all of that. Mm-hmm. To me, it may disprove or contradict what is written in the Bible about how it came to be. But even at that, it still doesn't directly contradict it, because when they sit there and say God said let there be light, and all of that, that could have been the Big Bang at that point. That's because it was light. It exploded. Light, without light, there is no life. And that's something that science has actually proven, right? I mean, the absence of light, period. Mm-hmm. So I really don't think that, I really do agree with you when you say, it doesn't have to be that one single one is the answer to all. It doesn't have to be that. As a believer in God, the God that we serve, or the God that Christians serve, the God that Muslims serve, there is supposed to only be that one God, period. And all other gods are just idols.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you think about it, it doesn't really disprove, even though that they may be smaller than our God, or however you want to put it. It doesn't say that. It just, the way he explained it made a lot of sense. If you think about it that way. I'm not saying I necessarily feel that that's how it is, but it made a lot of sense. It showed a different perspectives to be like, okay, I can see how someone could understand it like that, because it makes sense.
Yeah, which brings to mind, caller, that one thing I've learned coming up in like church and stuff like that. I'm not in a certain type of religion. I'm actually non-denomination. You know what I mean? That means I only follow God. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so it brings to mind how they say God is God. That's automatic. But somewhere in the Bible it says he has multiple names, because you have multiple people. You have different types of people. So you will have us. We use the name God. Other people use the name Allah. Some other people use the name Ashua or something like that. Yahshua. Yahweh.
Jesus, Yahweh is for God, right? Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying, though, right?
Oh yeah. And
because of the multiple people, you have different languages.
Right. And that's where we, if we take the time, and which most of us, because we're taught in this system, two things you don't talk about is what?
Politics and religion at dinner table.
Politics and religion. Now, the reason why we are so limited in our knowledge of politics and religion is because what?
We don't talk about
it. We don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if we started talking about it without the emotional attachment, without the no, my God says no, without all of that, and we actually listen to each other. We actually hear each other. And then you start finding out, because the average Christian, the average Muslim, the average whoever does not know, because we didn't see the original books. We didn't see the original books. We didn't read the original books. We don't speak the original language. So we're learning everything from someone else's interpretation.
Second, third, and fourth.
And this is something that came to me. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
When I write O-N-E. And then when I write O-N-E, I write O, capital O-N, and then lowercase e. When I do that, is because I read in scriptures that there's a deity called who was it? Forgive me if I don't get the right. Abraham. Was it? And they wanted it. And Ben Arni, the name that he named him, Ben Arni, which Ben is son of. And On was a name of the Most High. Again, back to where we said Anu. So there were different variations of that word Anu. Mm-hmm. You had On, you had Anu, then you had A-N-N-U, which was in Egypt, which was the city of Heliopolis, which is the city of the sun. So therefore, On was the sun, S-U-N.
Right.
Which they also make reference to in chapter, in the book of Malachi, chapter 4, where it talks about the son of righteousness, but it's not S-O-N, it's S-U-N of righteousness, with healing in its wings.
Right.
And you have a visual of that, which you find in Egypt, or the land that they call Egypt. Mm-hmm. In Egypt, you have the sun disk, and there is the sun disk with wings. Mm-hmm. So when you look at that, that's that On, that sun. Now, why I say because most people, Christians, Muslims, they say that God is what? God is one. They say that Allah is one, right?
Yeah, I was looking at that, kind of connect with the numbers.
Now, if you look at that word one and look at it, because it's clearly not one. This is the trick. See, we have to look at the trick that they do say. The word O-N-E is not one because there's no W in there. So where do you get this W sound?
Right.
So therefore, they don't want you to know how to pronounce that word properly, because if you see it, then when you say Allah is Oni, then you're saying Allah is my son God.
Yeah.
And then what do they say? That Allah is what? The light of the heavens and the earth. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. God is the light of the heaven and the earth. God said, let there be light. So when you're looking at this, Allah is one, but really it's Allah is Oni. They're telling you who Allah is. They're telling you who God is. It is that Son God. So in one place they say on or Oni, and in another part they say Ra or Ray, which again, that's where you get sun rays from. Because in Egypt, they call him Ra or they call him Ray. So when we're looking at these translations, are they translating it properly, or are they improperly translating it, which again is causing the confusion, because they're not giving you the whole story, because they're trying to strategically get you to believe a certain way.
Right.
They don't want. If you
Tell them about the etymology behind confusion.
well, that. Oh my gosh, these people! The language that they have that they have given us within itself. Most of us, average person, any one of y'all brothers, what does confusion mean to you?
Confusion means not understanding, jumble up, or misconception, thrown off track, don't understand, can't see,
Blind, yeah.
blind to facts.
Unclear.
Right. So now, the crazy part about it, somewhere, somehow, they've done the same thing with that word confusion that they've done with the languages and the translations and the religions and everything else. The original, well, I ain't gonna say the original because it still does something before that too. But when you go back etymologically, the word confusion is a compound of con, and con actually is with. It means together or with. Fusion,
Also
what is fusion?
In Spanish, it is too.
Huh?
In Spanish, it is too.
Exactly, because that's where it came from. Because English is a bastard language, so it has no mother or father because it comes from so many different. You don't know who the parent is.
Wow.
Out of pappy. So it comes from so many different places. So now con is with or together. Now fusion, we also know fusion means when you fuse things together, you're bringing it together again. So now, since confusion is together and then fusion is together, so it wouldn't make sense to say confusion means together. So they just say what? Mingle together. That's what confusion.
Yes.
Okay. It makes sense.
Thanks for dropping the knowledge on us.
Yeah, definitely, man. I appreciate that. Etymology changes the perspective on a lot of different things, man. It really does.
Right.
What's the name of it?
Callers, we have a question. We have a question for you from someone in the room.
Words.
Caller.
Etymology.
Okay. So the question was, you had mentioned, you said part of the problem was they haven't been translated properly. And one of the viewers wanted to know what's the best translation.
Well, that's where we collectively, those who say, okay, we say we're true believers. Your average Christians say they really believe in the Bible. They really believe in the Bible. But if most Christians that I ask and talk to, and we come to an agreement, they come to agreement. They agree that Hebrew. That's what they say. They say it was translated out of Hebrew. So then I say, well, do you speak Hebrew? They say, no. We have to come to a point, and I'm saying we because none of us have it. We have to get it. So to get to the best translation is we first have to have the will and the desire to want to translate. Like, you have to first want to translate. You want to first get to that, like you said, etymology. You want to first get to the etymology to know that there's a need to get to the etymology. So once you take that first step, once you say it's Hebrew, then you go to the Hebrew, what happens is you start opening up certain doors with these words. And then when you start finding out, is Hebrew the original language? You find out, no, it wasn't. There was something that dated back further than Hebrew.
No, Aramaic.
Aramaic.
Right. So who wants to do that? Majority of us don't. That's why we say two things you don't talk about is politics and religion. So why? Because the more you talk about it, the more you start uncovering how much we really don't know. And like the people said, you start finding out that, hold on, you start finding out, oh, well, science ain't bad because science is of God. If God is God, then God should be the ultimate scientist. So you start saying these things. So with the language, the best language is to first start what you know. And that's why the funny part about it, that's why they call it research. Right? And what does research mean?
Learning in reverse.
Huh?
You said something?
You have to
Yeah, I said learning in reverse, sort of like.
So,
research, search again. So that means it's letting you know that you're gonna constantly be searching again, because in order to get to the source, you have to go a little further. Once you get there, then you say, "Oh, dang, I have to go." That's what the scientists are doing. That's what nature is doing. Once you find out that there's a planet out there, then you look and you be like, "Oh, wow, there's another planet even further. Oh, wow, there's another planet even further." But some people tap out like, I'm tired, man. Okay, I can deal with what I have.
So part of I think the deeper question that the viewer was asking when they say what's the best translation, I think the question was kind of like this. So when you read the Sumerian text, like I mentioned him earlier, Zecharia Sitchin had a totally different interpretation. And he wrote because of that interpretation in terms of how he interpreted certain words when decoding a lot of those texts, he was saying he was basically at odds within the academic community. The academic community was saying, hey, it was saying this. Zecharia Sitchin was saying it was saying this. The question, I'm not arguing whether or not Sitchin was right or not. The question is, if we're going to talk about translation, then we're talking about on what basis do we determine something so universal in terms of its meaning when it may or may not align with our experience. You see?
And that's yeah.
See, because what I don't want in religion is mob rule. I don't want that. Because one thing I don't want in religion is mob rule. I don't want my religion to become a democracy, because it's religion by default is supposed to be established on inalienable truths and realities. Okay. So I don't. So if we're talking about translation, I don't understand how the democratic process will play a part in that.
Absolutely, I agree.
If my religion is going to have personal meaning for me,
I agree.
Right, and that's what, again, like I said, that's why I said we have to take that stance and see, because religion is supposedly spirit, right?
Right.
So therefore, your spirit should. What we most times with religion, because religion has become, like you say, it's pretty much democratic. It's almost sometimes even authoritarian and totalitarian or whatever. It eliminates your spirit. You're supposed to have a connection with God.
Right.
Average child growing up, just period, of sheer childhood, one of the number one questions that a child asks when you tell the child God made us, what is the number one question that the child 9 times out of 10 is gonna ask?
Where do we come from?
That's a cultural thing. They studied that. Chinese don't do that. Chinese do not ask where it comes from.
What I'm saying, before the indoctrination is indoctrinated, and you tell a child God made us, then most children, from their spirit, automatically is when you tell them that God made us, their intuitive nature is going to say, well, who made God?
Yeah, but that's a Western question. That's what I'm explaining. That's a Western question.
Hold on. Wait. You say that's a Western question? You say
yes, because
outside of America don't have that question?
I mean this in terms of outside of America, in terms of space, and outside of in terms of civilization, in terms of time. If you go to China right now, if you look at the Taoist mind, and what's his name?
You talking about Western?
Yeah, if that's a Westernized mentality. Because if you look at the Taoist thought, Taoists don't ask that question. It's like the Asiatic community, they ask this question. They're not asking, where did I come from? They ask, how was I made? And how did I grow? It's loosely translated best, how did I grow? See, the Western mind, in terms of like how we're accustomed to thinking, always splits things. That's why we say, where did I come from? As if this reality is something separate from us. The Taoists, especially as kids in Eastern culture, they ask, how did I grow? And they don't separate themselves from it. They talk more or less like they relate their origin to the experience of being in this reality, not necessarily split from it. There's not a schism.
Right.
So that's why I say that's a very Western question.
Okay. On that standpoint, of course, I understand that. So that's basically what I was getting at is we have to get to the point where our spirit, because we're taught a certain way here in America, in the Western world, we're taught a certain way. So therefore, those intuitive questions that we have from spirit, when we say, well, if God made us, then who made God? It's because the spirit knows that it's a continuation. It didn't just start with this. It didn't start here. Mm-hmm. It didn't start here. This was connected to that. That's why we use the word consequence, but we always use the word consequence only when we talk about punishment. Oh, there's consequence. You're gonna suffer the consequence. But a consequence, again, there's on, C-O-N, what is it? With. So sequence. So consequence means what? It's with a sequence. So basically, what we're saying when we say consequence, everything has a sequential order. So for a person with the best translation, first and foremost, the best translation would be the translation that includes the names and the places, not changing it. No, if my name is Antonio or Antonius, no, just because I put it in English, my name should still be Antonius. Why? Because if the Bible says the name, asking my name, and you'll be able to move mountains, it says, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So therefore, if the name is hallowed, then if I change the name, then whatever power that name has, and I switch it to, which we do the TT. You name your child this beautiful name, and then all their life you call them TT. So you've taken away that power, that energy. So the best translations are the translations that keep the power, the essence of that language. And that's another thing we're missing, because when you change it. You change the meaning. You change the meaning of it, and you change the power of it. So our best translations are those translations where we say, if we're going to look at translations, we have to say, okay, where did we lose? That's why, like you said, with Zechariah 1, it's funny because when you look at certain translations, even when you use the concordance. In the concordance, you take one word, and then in that concordance, they'll have, let's say, God. In the concordance, God, it comes from what? The word Elohim. One part, it comes from the word Elohim. That Elohim is plural, because you have the yod and the meme on the end of it. Right. That makes it plural. So when they translate Elohim, you get gods, you get judges, you get rulers. These are there. So now, like you said, Zechariah sits you and look at it and you say, okay, well, I'm gonna take it and it's gonna mean rulers to me. Well, somebody else says, well, I like it. I like gods. But then they say, well, instead of saying gods, I'm just gonna say God. So the best translation is a translation where Elohim is plural and not singular.
But see, even if you had let's say a perfect translation, part of the problem with translations also is you have to capture the context in which things were spoken. So in other words, if I said we are live or we are live, you understand? The word live and live is the same exact word. Right. And you can use it in different sentences and mean totally different things. Sure. And so when you start talking about translating dead languages that's been going off the planet for damn near 3,000 years, 2,000 years, even if you were able to get the correct translation in terms of what did they say, you're still going to have the problems among individuals, because then the question now is going to be, what did they mean?
Man, that was so beautiful. And that's one thing that we do not, another thing we don't understand is because that part, every culture has a language and every language has a culture. Right. So when you say, what's up? And you go over to China and say, what's up? What is the Chinese going to look up in the sky and say, it's a bird, it's a plane, whatever. Oh, so like you're saying.
I'm sorry, brother. We got a brother. Funny brother. But yeah, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We just don't live on the show.
About the magnificent, wonderful, and amazing. And so, no, that's just, I agree with you 1,000%. That's where we also have to pay attention to what was the culture of these people. They weren't just saying God. What was going on in their time? What was knowledge to them at that time? Because if you're using their words, their terminologies, so when this man says a chariot of fire, you have to know what a chariot is first and foremost. Absolutely. What is a chariot? A chariot for them was a form of transportation, a way to transport humans or people from one place to another. Now, what was fire in their time? In their time, fire was a way to light up a house, light up a city, light up a room. Fire was the way to cook food or whatever. So now, this person in that time and during that culture said and defined something as a chariot of fire. And now we have to understand that this person was, to our understanding, this person was being shown what? The future. They were showing in the future, Revelation. They were being shown the future. So therefore, if they go to the future and they see a chariot of fire, so what are they saying? They're seeing a vehicle or something that is transporting people, and it has fire on it, lights on it. What would that be in our time? That would be some form of what do we transport each other around on? What are our chariots on this day and time in the future? It could be a car.
Yeah.
It could be a car. It could be whatever, different things. An airplane. So many different things. When you see a city coming down from out of heaven, a city. When a person is riding on a mule and they're going into the city and they look out far off at the city, what do they see? They see these inside the village or inside the city, they see these houses with all these different windows, and these windows are lit up because the fire on the inside of these houses or huts or whatever they called it in that culture during that time, they're looking at this thing from far away, and this is what the city looks like. So when they now see a city coming down from out of heaven, a crystal city coming down from out of heaven, that's making this noise that sounds like the sounds of many waters, and it's hovering and it's vibrating, it's making this noise. They're seeing some type of crafts coming down, because to them, that's what cities look like, with the windows, with the lights. They can see the lights and the windows with lights in them inside. So you got to know the culture, and then understand that this culture is trying to explain a whole other culture that is thousands of years in the future, hundreds of years in the future. So they're explaining it still in their culture, in their terminology. Moses sees a what? A burning bush. A burning bush that what? That never consumed itself. So he said, he like, man, why is this bush keep burning? But it never burns out. It never consumes itself. It just keeps burning, just burning, burning, burning. This dude just saw a lamp. God has that technology, but he's explaining it based on his culture, to his knowledge, his limited knowledge. So that's just different ways.
That's exactly what he was talking
going
about.
on that. But that sparked that when you said that. It sparked that for me to agree with you that we don't know the culture and the context of what they were saying things in. But sometimes we can use certain things to kind of gauge it. Like, maybe this is what it is. Maybe they were seeing lamps back then. Maybe they were seeing ships or crafts or airplanes or whatever. This is God we talking about. God could have had that technology back then. Mm-hmm. Is this technology new to God? If Jesus brought his disciples up on the mountain and he showed disciples, or these special disciples, he showed them Moses. Moses came, and who else was it? Was it Moses, Elias, Elijah? They appeared. So that means Jesus must have had a time machine, or a ship, or something. I don't. It's just different ways to just look at it.
No, you're making the point. You're making the point of, because the original topic of discussion was aliens, yes or no. And then we also ended up, as a result of that topic, ended up getting into the fact that there's a lot of religious texts that say, hey, maybe we misunderstood. Maybe it wasn't alien. I'm sorry, maybe it wasn't angels. Maybe it was really aliens. And so if you're still with us listening to this podcast, that's exactly what the gentleman just did over the last 20 minutes. He took you on a ride to explain to you how things could have been misinterpreted or things were understood within the context of the language available at that time. And that's why sometimes you have different realities, even within the same system of belief. If you look at the book of Ezekiel, they always say, hey, man, that's proof positive in the Bible right there that was a spacecraft because of the way they described the chariot. Well, hell, the argument is the reason why that's described that way because those are the only frames of reference they had available. So of course, fire looked like a lion head. Of course, the body of the ship was like a chariot with a wheel and inside of a wheel, because they had no way to describe, given the language at their disposal, to talk about this extraterrestrial encounter. That's one way of looking at it. I don't believe it, but that's just one way of looking at it. But I do understand exactly what you're saying. Exactly.
Right, and that's beautiful because, like, I was talking to one Christian sister, and she was like, "Y'all, I don't know. I'm trying to understand Revelation," and I said, in a joking way, but in a serious tone as well. I said, well, if you are really trying to really understand, understand the Bible, I said, two things you need that most people throw out. I said, you need Egypt and you need extraterrestrials. It's like, you need, those are the two things that'll help you really understand the Bible, because those are the things that they're shunning you away from. But that's like, those are the things that will kind of clear up a lot of things. Yeah. It's like extraterrestrial, aliens, and Egypt. And the funny part about it is, another reason why you say Egypt is because Moses was born and raised in Egypt. Abraham was sent to Egypt when his holy or chosen land was in the famine. Who else? Joseph sent to Egypt. Jesus, God's chosen son, only begotten son, was sent to Egypt for safety, not salvation, safety, and was educated and waxed wise in wisdom in Egypt. So it's certain things, and that's why when we do, for those who do really go into Egypt without this taboo, you actually start seeing, wow, those are the four beasts right there that they were talking about in Revelation. The one with the face, the lion, the bull, the bird. That's right there in Egypt. Those are the four sons of Horus, the canoptic jars of Horus. Wow, it's right there. So you start seeing these things. The science was there. I apologize. I hear feedback. I ain't know somebody's trying to talk.
Brother, thank you so much for calling in, man. We definitely got to have you on the show again.
Yeah, man. I was gonna say the same thing, brother. Hey, man,
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Beautiful conversation, man. Beautiful conversation.
Absolutely. All right, you guys take care, man.
You all do the same. You all have a beautifully productive week. And be great, man. Keep learning, keep studying, keep teaching, man.
Yes, sir.
You as well, brother. You as well, man. You as well. Take care.
Take care. Man, so we're going on 2 hours and 38 minutes.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, it
is time to shut it down. We should be off. We should be off with next Wednesday, because I mean, we did 2 shows in one. Come on, man, we did 2.5 hours, 2 shows. You know, it's 2 shows, man. Yeah.
Shows, what's going on?
Shout out to everybody.
5 minutes out.
So, man, any
5
shout
minutes.
outs? Just shout out to the usual Jungatech PC Solutions.
Yes.
That's all your tech needs, home or business.
Yeah.
Other
Mecca Smoke
podcasts.
Shop.
Yeah,
Mecca
Mecca
Smoke
Smoke Shop.
Mecca Smoke
Definitely.
Probationary, you know, Felicia Hickman's business,
Felicia
Probationary. Yeah.
Off the Wall Television
Absolutely.
Podcast.
Absolutely.
They
Amy.
what's the other podcast? Reserve.
Front Row Reserve.
Front Row
Front Row
Reserve,
Reserve.
which should be this Thursday coming up. And we'll announce that. So make sure y'all check in with those. Any other shout outs? Shout out to Jungle ENT.
Amy.
Just hey,
Amy's Cakes. And we're
Shout
not
out,
talking
shout-
about a butt. We're talking about some real cakes, like the kind you put in the oven.
yeah. But anyway, shout out to everybody, man, that's listening, that was watching. Shout out to Bobby with the hand language.
we got a guest in the house.
Yeah,
Shout out to Leo, man.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
thanks for hanging out with
And
us.
thanks for participating in the conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get us like a little couch or something that way they can like actually be
Yeah, man.
in the
Y'all got all the
I fall
chairs.
asleep on it.
I'd have been asleep then.
It's on you guys.
Yeah, but shout out to all our families and stuff like that. Hey mom, hey pop,
Family.
Sisters, brothers, cousins,
Everybody.
yeah.
Everybody.
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to those people that you know what I'm saying, that got the marriage group online on Facebook. Shout out to the Marriage Club. Shout out to the
Straight ignored you.
you like black owned businesses. Keep doing y'all thing. Black restaurants, stuff like that. They got a group going on.
Cool
Shout out
running.
to Cool Runnings.
Yeah, Cool Runnings.
What's up,
Shout out to
brother?
AK Realty. AK.
Yes.
Yes, AK Realty.
AK
Yes.
Realty, most definitely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
What? Hey, shout out to everybody that's productive. Hey,
There you
know
go.
what I'm saying?
There we go.
If I speak up on one, somebody gonna come up to me in my face, goes, "Man, how come you ain't say nothing about my business?" That's why I'm not, volunteering. It didn't already happen. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that's productive out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Stay up on it. On a positive note. You know what I'm saying? Check this out, man. We done gave y'all a whole bunch of time, man. 2 hours and 42 minutes. You ain't got to go home, but you're gonna have to get up off here.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? Hey, man, this your boy Eyes Low.
And this your boy Big Bro.
I'm Brother
This your
Ron.
boy Beast.
And we are the Daily Smoke.
Smoke. We out.
We out. Good show.